I'm Yoshi Lomax, superstar attorney at law and fugitive.
So, you're the famous Yoshi Lomax.
Probably more infamous. I'm on the run from the federal government for crimes that I didn't commit.
Gentlemen, I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Sharon Starr. I'll be taking things from here.
Not to mention being on the hit list of at least 3 of Miami's major crime bosses.
I wanted to apologize in person for leaving so abruptly last night.
Welcome back.
That's Vladimir Kuznetsov, a Russian crime boss. He's been a suspect in over a dozen missing person cases.
I mean, I didn't get here to be this successful for doing things the American way.
I need a list of the jury for my case with Hanju.
Oh, really? What's that worth to you? Oh my God, you're such a good...
Mr. Santana is to be released upon processing.
So what do you know about Sheldon Chisholm?
What do you want to know about him?
I really need to know if you're going to take my case. I don't have time to play, Miss Lomax.
Money is not a problem. You know anything about his case?
It's being handled by agents in my field office.
I've learned that in this game of life, in order to win,
Ready to dance?
you gotta play dirty. You might look at me and see a beautiful, confident, successful woman.
Congratulations, counselor. Yet another win.
But underneath, I'm flawed. I'm broken. And I'm scared. So I have no choice but to run until I can find a way to clear my name.
Miss Lomax is now considered a fugitive of the United States. Catching fugitives is my business, which makes her my suspect. You and your associates are relieved.
Look. She killed one of our own.
But I will not give up.
All right, people, listen up. Get a picture of Miss Lomax out there so the public knows what she looks like.
I will not give in.
Okay. People, we got a game plan. Let's break and execute.
I will not get caught.
Time to go hunt.
Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
This is Vicky Judy. Orange is the new black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks. You are listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And nothing less. What's going on? Thank you for joining us again for another Monday with Real Talk with the Director and the Jedi Council. I'm the Director. We'll be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk is brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media and the IE Network, where we broadcast live via the World Wide Web on the IE Network, via YouTube and via Twitter and Periscope and via Facebook. So thank you very much for joining us. Good show tonight. We want to talk. We got a guest tonight that'll be coming on soon. In celebration of National Women's Day Got a nice, some black excellence coming up. Black woman excellence coming up. A little bit later in the show, Miss Katie Mack will be here with us. Actor, director, filmmaker. That's what's up. Also, we want to shout out everybody, all the women out there, every woman for the National Women's Day. What's going on? Shout everybody out. I did a post earlier about some awesome women in my life. I lost two of my most influential women in my life. I lost them a few years now. My mother, Inez, and my sister, Gina, which is also today is her birthday. So happy birthday in heaven, Gina, and rest in peace, or continue to rest in peace. I also want to give a rest in peace shout out to a man. He's a very well-known dude in the industry. From Hempstead, from Long Island, and my man Daryl Shamelo Durant. That was a shock to people. Now some people, if you're in the industry, you probably know him, and if you don't, he's most notably known for his work that he did in the 80s, most notably 80s and 90s. He produced, directed Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See from Busta Rhymes. No news on, the passing. He did pass, and it's very unfortunate. I was going to be working with the brother. I was going to be working with him, possibly on I do a docuseries. My brother and I, we do a docuseries, which is an extension of of the blog site that him, his partners, and all of that work on. In case you didn't know, that's actually the name of the site. In case you didn't know, that is the name of the show. We're working on several episodes as of right now. One of the episodes we were working on was going to be about, or it still is going to be about, a mutual friend that me and Shamelo shared, and that is Mr. Dr. Freeze, aka Elliot Strait. He is a producer also from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. He's most notably known for the production of Poison. Actually, he wrote and produced Poison for Belle Biv DeVoe. He also wrote and produced I Want to Sex You Up, which is a nice segue because I think today is like the 30th anniversary of New Jack City or something like that. I Want to Sex You Up was a big record off of that soundtrack, probably the biggest record off that soundtrack. That's my boy Freeze wrote and produced that. So me and Shamelo was talking because we were gonna, I'm doing this thing, and he wanted to speak on Freeze's behalf as well because he worked with him. Good dude overall, man. A lot of people liked him. A lot of people loved him. So rest in peace to him as well. Yeah, man. So a lot of people are going, man. It's crazy when it's weird, but it's all good, man. We're gonna try to keep it moving. We're gonna talk about, in light of all of this stuff that's been happening, not happening, but the Eddie Murphy released the sequel to Coming to America, and people, had their reviews, their reactions, and it was pretty interesting when some of these reactions. I was Facebook, social media kind of makes everybody a critic, which is fine. I'm not trying to knock nothing, but I've seen a lot of, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, unnecessary negative reviews. And you're quite, everyone is entitled to their opinion, so it's not a big deal. But there's some things I want to point out about the film that may have flew under the radar. Some people may have missed. First of all, this film obviously is a sequel. It's 30 years later. And the reason why I want to talk about sequels today, because I believe if most people, now, myself, Ralph, the Jedi Council, we're exceptional beings when it comes to films. We've seen a lot. And there's some out there. There's a lot of you have. But all of the films that you've seen in your lifetime, I can almost guarantee you be hard-pressed to name me more than, I'd even say 10 sequels that was no doubt, undoubtedly better than the original or better than the first installment. There's a few. Don't get me wrong. There are a few notable ones too. And I think, I'll mention a couple, but I'd be interested and hear what people have to say about that. If you want to, you can drop it in the comments in the chat room. As we big everybody up who came through so far in the chat room and more people that's coming through. Anyone who's going to watch this broadcast later, we definitely thank you for joining. And so we're going to do that a little later. We'll talk about that after our guest is on. And then we will also count down, Ralph and I will count down our top 5 movies or movie scenes that made you cry. So this was a request from one of our people in the chat room. They're like, yo, why don't you do the top movies that made you cry? All right, that's what's up. We'll rock with that. We'll do the top 5 movies that made you cry. I got a lot of them. I'm a crier, so I got a lot of them. So it's all, I can do 5 with no problem. So that's all good. I got a few. It's all good, man. I have no problem. That's in the Clark blood. We Clarks, man. We criers. That's what we do. That's our thing, man. I don't know. Maybe it's a light skin thing. I don't know. No, I'm joking. Let me don't even go there. But anyhow, good show. And like I said, so we'll do that later on. Like that'll be like the last part of the segment or whatever, last segment of the show. And in between that, we'll do the Coming to America thing. We'll talk about sequels. Because I got a few. I got like maybe 3 off the top of my head that were, in my opinion, no doubt better than the original. But it's not many. I challenge people to give me 10. That was no doubtedly better than the original. It's hard. You got to dig into, especially dramas. It's easy to do it with like sci-fi, stuff like that. Exactly. Right on cue, Jay says Back to the Future 2. Sci-fi. You know what I'm saying? Right. Which is, that's fine. It's still a movie. And I agree. That's arguable for me. Of course, Dark Knight, he put in there, of course. Dark Knight. That is a no doubt better sequel. He said Spider-Man 2, and I believe that as well. I believe Spider-Man 2 was the better film than Spider-Man. Definitely. So you got a couple. You can dig into some of the MCU kind of did it with the Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That's one for me too. You know what I mean? The Winter Soldier. So, we'll dump it too. So anyway, we'll get into it, man, and we'll see what's up as the chat room drops some bombs in there. Thanks again, you watching and listening to Real Talk with the director and the Jedi Council. I am the director, and I brought my Jedi Council with me. Don't believe me? Well, at least one half of them's here. What up, Ralph? You in the building? What's up, brother?
What's going on, everybody? Happy International Women's Day. And let me just take a second, since it is International Women's Day, let me first say shout out to all the important women in my life that have helped me, nurtured me, guided me, cursed me out, kicked my butt over the years. I'm dead serious. I probably would not be the person I am without any of you. So shout out to all of you.
Most definitely.
And since it is International Women's Day, it's also someone who I'm familiar with, her birthday day. So very big shout out to the originator of the modern female action star. No disrespect to Pam Grier, but this one was much more physical. The Lady Dragon, Cynthia Rothrock. Happy birthday, honey! 63 years old, and she's like, whoa.
Yeah. She looks great too.
She is still awesome.
She's still killing it. Yeah, man. Lady Dragon. That's what's up. Yo, I'm telling you, man, like I said, there's a few awesome women still in my life. You know, I didn't lose all of them, thank God, you know.
I know.
But yeah, man. This is what's up. So we got a good show going. We have a pretty awesome lady getting ready to come on. You know what I mean? I worked with her. How many years ago? Jeez, it was like 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. My very first feature film that I ever did. It was called The Trade-Off, and yeah, man. We were casting for it. You know, shout out to Sherman Sawyer. He's the person. It was based on his novel Open House, and was also he was executive producer of the film. And he hired me and trusted me to bring the film to life, and we did. And the funny thing is, we did it, and we went to the film festival. We won the Audience Choice Award at the Long Island International Film Expo. We were casting for it, and we had these characters, man, and I believe. I don't know if she knew this or noted. It was one person. It's like one other person we cast first. That was probably Ron Rogel. But when we started casting for these particular characters, we saw several people for this character. But this young lady, she knocked it out the park. So we was like, yo, she's definitely in. You know what I mean? She just came in. And what I like about that film, is it was a first for a lot of people, you know what I mean? And I'm glad to see everybody grown from there. You know, a lot of people have grown from there, you know. We had a couple actors, you know, my man Rayon Lawrence was in it. You know, Rayon, he's a friend of the show. You know, he comes in. We had him in it. He's went on to do what he's doing. You know, Rob Riley. You know, Rob Riley that was his first feature film. You know what I'm saying? We had him in there. Rob, you see him now. You could catch Rob on Dynasty. You know what I'm saying? Doing his thing.
I know. He getting that big weekly check.
That's what's up, man. TV money. You getting that TV check. That's what's up.
And residuals. And residuals.
So that's my dude right there. We'll probably have him back on later in the year. And like I said, I see people growing from this. There's a couple others too that's been doing their thing, you know. And this young lady I'm about to bring on, she's now, she was an actress then. I guess she still is an actress, but now she's a filmmaker as well. So everybody, welcome my friend, homegirl, Katie Mack in the building. What's up, Katie?
Hi.
Hello.
What's up, Les? What's up, Ralph? How y'all doing today?
We're doing good today. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day to you. That's what's up, man. So it's been a while, Katie. It's been a while.
First of all, thank you guys for having me on tonight.
Sure.
I feel very honored to be here on this wonderful holiday. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You're very welcome. Now, that's what's up.
Oh, wow.
That's what's up.
This is the movie, Ralph.
This is the movie.
So,
The Trade-Off.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
So I keep it in my kitchen. So I have like the cabinets things in.
I was waiting on you to come on because I could do you one better.
Oh God.
This whole basement is soundproof. You can't hear a thing from down here. It was my husband's idea. Our son Junior is in a band, and they rehearse down here every day. Between him and Claire, I don't know which one is the worst with the loud noise. You know, teenagers.
It's right up my alley.
I knew you would love this.
Oh, you have no idea.
But let me open the light so you can see it better. You see, you can do... What?
Come around the back by the basement door.
On our way.
Please don't hurt me.
Don't worry. As long as you cooperate, everything will go just fine.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. We just have to take care of some unfinished business with your husband.
Damn. You pulled out the Glock like.
Yes. I had to wait till she get on to do it. I was going to do it at the beginning of the show, but I didn't see her backstage yet. So I was like, no, I want her to see this. So I'm going to wait. You know, hey, now remember, this was back in 2006. You know what I mean? Wasn't even HD, people. We shot that in SD.
It was so hot in that basement. That's all I remember. It was so hot in that basement.
We were for air conditioning. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's why she pulled the gun. Look, y'all need to turn on this AC.
Right now. Like get a fan or something.
Right. Yeah, we shot that film. Actually, we shot the film in like, I think it was 11 days, something like that. It wasn't that long. We shot in 11 days, but I want to say, 4 of those days we was in that basement, maybe 2, 3. I don't remember, but it felt like forever because we were in there. We were in a shout out to Real Time Studios, Sean Davis. We shot it there, and you know, which is a studio, obviously there, a recording studio out of Freeport, New York, and then we shot the rest of it in a house in Westbury, Old Westbury. So, shout out to Mark. We you know, it was really it was fun though, man. It was a great experience for everybody, and like I said, we were all. It was a lot of first. I don't know. Was that your first feature, Katie?
That was my first feature. Yeah,
that was your first feature. Okay. See, it was a first for a lot of us. It was a first for a lot of us. So we were exploring and learning together, man, and everybody came together and we did a lot. And oh, you know, I have also one of my former students, Jamie Miller, who is now a very prominent stunt coordinator. You know, and he did the stunts for that film. Him and Rob Riley had a fight scene and boom, they fighted it. It was pretty dope too. It wasn't a bad fight scene. Yeah. So that was one of his first stunt coordinating jobs. So it was a first for a lot of us, and I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see the ones that are still doing it. You're still doing your thing, and one of the reasons why I brought you on because I know that you have a film that you're working on. It looks very interesting, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about the film, and then you know I'll jump into a little more nostalgia stuff after.
Okay. Wow, but it was good. It was real quick to just see that throwback. It's just like, dang, it's come a long way.
It's come a long way, right? It's like, but you know what? It's like I said. I'm glad. You know, even Rob to this day will always, you know, he always recognizes me as, you know, the director that put him in his first feature film. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even like, I remember one time I went and hung out with him. I don't know, some industry event he was at, you know, big shot. So everybody he introduced me to, you know, yo, this is my boy. He's my director, man. He put me in my first film, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, that's what's up, man. You know, so it's good to see everybody still doing their thing. And we're all advancing, and that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about your film. This looks really interesting.
Okay, so it's funny. I just got to see myself in my first feature film, but now I'm actually doing my first feature film. I wrote it,
producing it and directed it.
Yeah. So, and I'm also in it. But the feature film is about two traumas that happen in two of these athletes' lives. So the trauma forces them to kind of look in the mirror, see themselves face to face with their reality, all while, prepping to claim the number one spot. These two characters are both professional boxers, male and female. And, the film also spotlights, what am I trying to say? Mental health in the Black community, because, it's I feel like mental health in the Black community has gotten a little better, especially with the pandemic. But for the longest time, it's been kind of like a taboo thing. And, people I know, my family, I'm not going to no therapist. I ain't speaking to nobody that I don't know. They can't tell me nothing about my life. That whole mindset. So, in the film Boxer, we kind of spotlight it and see what it looks like and how it could actually be a positive thing for a Black man in America, a Black woman in America. And, you also get to see two type A personalities. You got these two boxers, this male and this female. And, they kind of bump heads, but, they're on a similar journey. And we get to see what that looks like and how that looks, if they're going to join each other in this journey, or if they're going to take the journey individually. So I think it's a dope movie. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it, but I play that boxer. So the training for that, turning, starting as a novice boxer and turning into a professional boxer has been very rigorous.
No, I've been seeing you posting like behind the scenes and posting pictures and stuff, and it looks real intense. I was like, wow, this is going to be really. So so obviously you play the female boxer.
So I play Kojak, and I never originally wanted to play the role. I wrote it to cast someone else, but I did a couple of table reads. And the first table read, the young lady that I had read for this character's role, she's like, yeah, girl, you need to play this. Like, this is you. Like, this is a role for you that you can do. And I was just like, all right, cool. I'm going to turn it into Mayweather real quick. Yeah, no, this is like trying to be a professional boxer at in my early 40s and my knees. Listen, that's what I'm like, the dedication to this.
It's tough, man.
Better be good, but
that sounds awesome to me. And okay, so you're the character now. I'm doing a couple of technical questions. Have you been? So are you have your cinematographer and all that stuff? You guys have been working out shots and blocking and stuff like that. How you going to shoot the fight scenes and stuff like that? Fight sequences.
So I was fortunate enough to be able to shoot the prelude of the film, which is the first 16 pages of the script.
Dope.
Yeah, we got that out the way. I paid for that out of pocket because the script took me 3 years to finish. And once I finished it, I was like, let's get the movie on it, So we shot the prelude in November of 2019. We shot it over probably about 6 days. So that the teaser that you guys might see online that's part of what we shot. But so now we're in the second round of crowdfunding. We did an Indiegogo. We raised about $5 grand. Now we're on GoFundHer. We raised another grant. So it's slow, but it's challenging in the middle of a pandemic to raise money that way. So now I'm looking at investors, and my DP, he's like a DP that shoots Patron commercials. So he's out there in the industry, but
doing his thing,
he's working, but he's just that's not the work that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about projects like this, the narrative. I'm blessed to have a really solid cast and crew, but Woo, boy, let me tell you something. Crowdfunding is like a whole other full-time.
Oh yeah, that is a whole. Let me tell you, the fact that you raised $5,000 on GoFundMe, was it GoFundMe? You said
Indiegogo on that.
Indiegogo. So you was on Indiegogo. That in itself is an accomplishment because trust me, I've went the crowdfunding route and it is tough. It's tough. It's tougher than you think. Yeah, it's tougher than you think. You would think, oh, well, you get this if you give this. But it's like, and it's like, yo, you know what's even tougher, which is weird to me. Okay, if you can't pay and you can't give anything, got you. Just share it. That seems like it's tougher than getting the money.
Yeah.
I'm like, share it to because if every person, like, I always look at stuff and I'm like, I got like, I don't know how many friends I got on Facebook, like 2,000 something. I'm like, if everybody shared it with one person or even two people, then your law of averages go up, and then you will find a person, because of law of averages, you will find people that will put money in, even if you don't. Just share it. You know, it takes 0.2 milliseconds. You know what I'm saying? to share. Trust me, it really does.
Same amount of time it's taking to take that selfie. You can take
exactly. Oh, even less than that. You know, selfie, you gotta take like 20 of them. You're like, okay, 50 of them. Yeah, you gotta take.
Right.
All right, yeah. So this is very quick, but so that's cool. So you have right now it's on GoFund Her. That one I saw. I didn't know you did it on Indiegogo as well. So that's good though. That's an accomplishment, man. And you say you got the first 16 pages shot.
First 16 shot, which I think
that's great.
63 pages is the full script. So
okay.
Got a good chunk of it out the way. Yeah, I mean, like the biggest problem I'm having, or the biggest challenge I'm having right now, is finding a boxing gym that is, one that's open, and two that's not going to be $10,000 a day. Because I don't have a Netflix budget.
That's
so
I don't know who you might have looked to, but I may be link you up with somebody. One of my friends who actually did. She used to work at a boxing gym, but but we'll see.
Where are you located at?
I'm in New York City. I'm in the Bronx. So I've been looking.
I might be able to hook you up. I might be able to hook you up with two people. One of them is Larry Holmes, because where I live at, he's in Easton, and Larry Holmes has got like blocks named after, buildings named after him, and he does have a gym. So he might be boxing culture. He is always supportive. And someone filming a movie, he may say and somebody else, this guy named Damon Feldman. He does celebrity boxing. And he's got this big match. That I guess shameless plug. Damon Feldman got this real big match coming up in the summertime. It's Aaron Carter versus Lamar Odom. It's a big deal. Gonna be in Atlantic City. Fight night. Atlantic City is coming back.
Wow.
So hit Damon Feldman up. You can find him on Facebook. You get tickets. Tell him that I heard Ralph Terry talking about you. He said I should come. So go see it, because it's gonna be epic. But he may be able to help you too, because he's out there in the Philadelphia area.
That's what I started looking.
Oh yeah. That's where you at?
I was looking there because I'm not finding anything here, so I'm like kind of broadening my scope. I'm I'll do Philly. We can go to Philly, that's no problem.
It's not that far. And like you said, Holmes is in Jersey, right? So there you go. I mean, we'll definitely make sure we connect with you after the show, and I'll look. I will reach out to the person that I know. It's kind of like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon situation, but I gotta call my girl to call my boy.
Okay,
it's all good though. Hey, but because another actress that I worked with, she used to work at this gym, and she shot something at this gym as well. A boxing, she did like a commercial or something for it. So I'm just gonna ask her, hey, what's up with them? You know what I mean? You never know, man. It's tough, man. I try. We gotta this is our community. We got to stick together if we can, man. Help each other out.
Gotta help each other out, man.
I would love to hopefully put you in touch with somebody that can help you, get your location, and then you can start finishing your film.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. So now
I just want to be an extra. Like, can I tell like the water bucket?
Get in the crowd.
That's easy.
Get in the crowd. Yeah, knock her out.
I got you.
Knock her out.
You can do it. You can do it.
Do it. I got you.
I want to be that guy. Say you can do it. like Snyder in all the Adam Sandler.
Yeah, in all the Adam Sandler films. You can do it. Yo, that's what's up. So now, do you have a lot of fight scenes in this, or
nope?
I know from what you're telling me, it seems like it's really dealing with the psychological of it, but you have a few fight scenes, a couple. You got.
Well, there's a couple of scenes where you'll see me in the gym. I'm actually training a couple of people, so you'll see me as coach, and then you'll see me training with with my coach. So I've been training since late last summer, and I was training so hard that I caught an injury, so I haven't trained for maybe about 2.5 months, and I go back next week. So I'm kind of like not looking forward to that. But
yeah.
Wow. I never thought I would miss it, but I do. That conditioning is a type of workout that I've ever had, and I've been an athlete my entire life, but that is a whole different workout. So
now I don't know if anybody noticed on the clip. Now, Katie always had the guns. She always had guns. She had them guns. And I'm like, yo, I thought about when I saw the name of the film. Right. And she, her arms have always been there. So I'm like, damn, she being a boxer in this film, them guns is gonna really come out.
They gonna look crazy. They better.
No, that's good. So I mean, I'm sure after all of that working, man.
Yeah.
But what other type of we know the type of preparation you've been doing with the but what else about this film? Because we all know when we write films, we always we learn something when we write films. We always do. You know what I mean? Every film I write, even if it's just a silly film or something, you learn something from it, from the characters or from the research. What did you learn from this film when you wrote it?
I learned that, even though I'm the writer, I don't always have full control of the characters and where they kind of grow to, and I kind of with this film, because just the fact that it's a feature is already that's a big deal. That's a lot of stress right there. So, I tried to kind of I just backed off and kind of let the writing, because it took me 3 years to write because I had a block. It just wasn't coming. So when it came back, I was like, oh, okay, Kojak, this way you want to go. Okay, Frankie, this way you want to go. And I just kind of let them breathe on their own. And, after getting the final script and casting everyone and hearing the words and, letting them do the work on the characters just made me feel like, all right, I'm in good hands. You know what I'm saying? I got cast the right people. I don't have to work that much, with, on that aspect of it. But I just learned to kind of let the story go where it needs to go, as opposed to me trying to be so controlling of the narrative. So and that just takes experience and just because we've been doing it for so long. It's just what do you want to do?
You have to let the script live. You know what I mean? Most scripts are living scripts. They evolve, they change. And when you're writing these characters, like you just said, you got to let them grow. Not at the end of the day, nothing's bigger than the project. So that you have to. The goal is to get the project made, right? To get it done. What I mean? So, like you said, you don't have control over just how these characters are. You can't keep it all confined. Sometimes they grow. Sometimes they even grow with the actor that you end up casting for them. You know, a lot of times, I know recently what I've been doing, is spending time with the actor with the role, and I let them, I build a character first, but then I do a build session with the actor because I want them to have stake in the character. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, what do you think you can add to this? You know what I mean? Let them give them a foundation and see what they can add to it, right? And then, so at that time, sometimes it goes a different way, the character a little bit, than you originally planned. But long as it makes the film better, that's all that matters. So that's a good lesson that you learned. That's a great lesson to learn. When you're doing this,
I know what you learned. You learned that those guns can still take it to the body, like bam.
Listen, I got a mean right hook.
You got me right,
man.
Oh no,
out here.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. So, are you planning to put like a teaser? Do you have a teaser that you're gonna put out there to kind of like give people a little taste so they okay.
Yeah. So what we shot, the prelude, I put together a teaser. So that teaser was on the Indiegogo. It's currently on the Go Fund Her. And that's pretty much what I'm using these days, because I know people see it and they're like intrigued because the movie's called Boxer, but in this teaser you see nothing about boxing. You don't see a gym, you don't see gloves or anything like that. So people are just like, yo, what is this? Because it looks dope.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we were able to put it together in that way. But that's kind of the teaser that I'm using for like investors and pitch decks and all that, because I think it's a great visual representation as far as like the level of quality that we're working at on this project.
Well, it sounds like it's a character driven film. So, the fact that you don't see anything about boxing, to me, it doesn't affect how, if me wanting to see it or not. I know it's, some people, because that's just on the very basic level. It's called Boxer. I don't see nobody boxing, but that's just not. You know what I mean? So it's a character-driven film. So long as you have that there, so I can see where that's going. That's dope. I gotta check that out. I did hit up the Go Fund Her, but I didn't look at the teaser. I just kind of I just kind of checked it out. I kind of dropped something and kept it moving. Oh yeah, of course. You know what I mean? We try to look out, man, as much as we can. I've been in your shoes a lot. So I know.
You know how these shoes fit, because look,
I know, they fit like like a.
They fit like they don't fit.
They don't fit, exactly. That's what's up. And what else? So tell me about a couple of like the other character, like a couple of the actors you got, in there.
So my other lead, the guy that's playing the other pro fighter, his name is Giviad Joseph. He's been on TV and movies across the land. So he's kind of like another Rob Riley.
Yeah.
And well, let me say Robert Christopher Riley.
Yeah. I call him Rob. We call him Rob because that's Rob. But Robert Christopher Riley.
Yeah. And
that's like Lawrence Fish. Don't call me Larry anymore. It's Lawrence.
It's Lawrence.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
You're Lawrence. You're Larry. You're Larry.
Lar. You're still Lar. Cut it out. No. Yeah. So yeah, I have
Larry.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what for the young heads out there. Y'all may not know what that is. Check it out.
On the Google's like, wait, what he said? Yeah. So yeah, I have Giviad Joseph, who's really talented. I was actually surprised that he he wanted parts of the film, because I had a hard time casting that role. It's just Wes, when when it's right and when it's not right. So I'm very pleased with him, and we also trained with the same boxing trainer. So while I was out on injury, you know, he's in the gym and I'm seeing all these clips go up and he's tagging me and he's tagging the film and all the things. And I was like, so are you out training me right now? Like, hey, Doc, can I get back into training right now? Because, but yeah, his level of dedication to the project. So, Lamar K. Cheston, he's another familiar face. He's in it. Who else do I have? I have Steven Strickland, Stephen Cofield Jr. And the majority of these people I've worked with over the last decade. And you know what that's like. You
I know what that's like. Yeah.
You got your crew, they're rocking with you.
I call them my brat pack. You got your brat pack of actors that you always work with.
Exactly.
You know, you've done with, you know, more than 1 or 2 films with them or projects with them. Yeah, of course. You know, that's the best to me.
Yeah. Huh? So I'm excited about you know, them, and they're excited about the project and like working together again. So, you know, it's been challenging these last few months with the pandemic, but you know, they check in. They're just like, yo, you good? Yeah. Like, are you okay? Yeah. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be dope.
No, I'm sure it is. And as you know, obviously with the pandemic, we gotta, you know, do our thing, and it's extra protocols you gotta do now. Now you need to get a COVID compliance officer on set now. Which you know, is that. Another thing though, how is it? So this is your first time directing, yes?
Oh no. This is my first
it's your first feature directing. Okay, cool. So, but have you is this your first time directing and acting in it, or you've done that before as well?
Oh, here's a fun fact. So, not my first time. This is actually my second time. The first time I did it was a short film that I wrote. This was maybe about 8 years ago. And I was like, yeah, this is my project. I'm going to be in it. I wrote it. I'm directing it. It was a fucking disaster. Oh my God. Can I curse? I'm so sorry.
It's all good. Yeah, you got it. You good.
I'm like, it was a disaster because, you know, I hadn't had the experience yet. I wasn't ready. And I didn't know that until, you know, we had wrapped, and I'm looking at the footage and I'm like, this is not where it needs to be, because I could see that I'm not in character. I'm worried about the shot, you know? So I ended up shelving that project. I took that L, and it was just like a learning experience, you know? So it took me about 8 years to feel comfortable enough to have a team strong enough to where I can do both of those things, you know? And not have to worry about all this producer stuff and all that, you know? So it's going to be a challenge, but I feel a lot more ready to do it and able to do it now than then.
Well, I mean, long as you, like you said, long as your team is strong and you got a good AD with you, you know, that's what you need. And you know, I thank God that I will never have to worry about that. Because I made a promise that I will never be in any of my films. But here's a fun fact: my feet was in the trade-off.
Wow! Oh my God!
Come on, man! You can't direct it and not like just add yourself as something.
Nope.
You know.
Nope. I have dedicated myself. I was like, no, I will never be in any of my films. That's just
running that West.
Hold on, wait. So let me just be sure I'm saying. So let's just sit there for the sake of argument. You get through the next Avengers film. You really going to sit there and say, I can't be in this in some kind of way, shape, form?
No. Man, wow. Yeah, it's just all right. So I did it, like I said, in the trade-off, there was a scene where they showed the flashback scene of the young girl that got raped by the governor's or whatever's son.
Yeah.
And that scene, that sequence, it's like you showed her, she gets held down, and then the door opens, and it's like you see like 3 different men's feet walk in. I was one of those feet. That was it. That is as far as my Hollywood debut. That's as far as it goes for me. It was crazy. It was like, and I only did it because we were just short on people that day. It was like me, the sound guy and like somebody else. We were like, yeah, walking in. I'm like, that was it, man. So yeah, I don't do that. But it's
discipline.
Yeah, I haven't done it. Have not done it. I was tempted to do it when I did Playing Dirty, and people were like, "Oh, yo, you want to just be this?" I'm like,
nah,
that's not me, man. I don't act, yo, but I love writing. I love directing. I love all that stuff. I even love editing.
It's not saying you got that. You could just like walk through the scene, like be the waiter or the bartender, the DJ going.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to say Jack, just as long as like you're visibly seen.
I know.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
No,
come on. Even Spielberg been in the movie or two of his.
My brother had a cameo in Playing Dirty. Yeah,
I'm in Playing Dirty, but come on.
Yeah, you're in there too. Yeah,
you ain't in it. There's something wrong. Think about it. There's something wrong that I'm in Playing Dirty, but the director himself isn't in there. Something wrong with that.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. I love it, but I know that that's got to be a tough thing, man. So now this is your second time doing this, but you feel more comfortable doing it now, right? It's coming a little more easier to you.
Yeah, I feel pretty solid. I feel like I've directed enough projects, series, all of those things. I've produced enough. I've been writing since God knows how long. So, and I think that I'm at the point in my career where it's like it's time to shift and level up. Because you can't be in the same space, for too long. But I mean, after you do about a dozen short films and you do a web series and you do a limited series like that, I feel like a feature is like, all right, that's next.
That's next, yeah, exactly.
So then what's going to be after that? I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there.
No, I mean, that I agree. I agree 100%. Like when we did the trade-off together, it was like I said, that was the first for a lot of us. And I had only did one not even a feature, it was a short that I did. And then, the executive producer, Sherman, he saw me at a film festival and was like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And he gave me his book, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And and that's how it kind of came across. You know what I mean? And me and Kevin, of course, Kev. We wrote the script together. Me and Kev wrote the script for the trade-off, and it's funny because Sherman to this day always messes with me because he's like, y'all put too many curses in the film.
Oh my God.
I was like, shut up. He was like, yeah, he was mad because he wanted the film to, be more, I guess family friendly or whatever. And I was like, well, it's family friendly enough. I'm like, the topic ain't family friendly. They kidnapping a chick. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, son. Nah, but it was cool though. But once again, the reason why all of the curses came out so much is because that's how I am. I like to let the actors build a little more because a lot, you, Rob, Bryant, y'all were improvising a lot too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So much fun.
It was fun, man. It was a great experience. Probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had, and I'm glad that I still know all of you. Keep in touch with all of y'all. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nobody got bougie on me. You know what I'm saying?
Nah. Good for you now. Now past your level.
Not me.
You know what I mean?
You can't afford me you can't afford me no more.
Ray was doing this thing. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. But and it's kind of like I'm seeing what's unfolding, kind of like what me and Sherman, who's the executive producer and the creator of it, what we talked about. We were like, yo, when we cast you guys, it was like there's a lot of talented actors here, and we can see them branching off and growing in this business, and it's kind of like unfolding. So that's a really cool thing to see.
That's dope.
From my perspective, you know what I mean? Seeing y'all working on your first feature on Me Too, and then growing and doing. Now you're directing, You know what I mean? I'm sure. I know Rob has his own production company, so I'm sure he'll be doing that stuff too soon. You know, Rayon is out there doing his thing. Bryant's still doing his thing. So I'm just happy to see y'all prosper, and I definitely want to see you win on this, man, because I want to see the film. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you do. We're gonna get it done, though. We're gonna get it done. But what I want you to do is definitely let me know. I'm gonna put it in the chat room too. What is the actual? How can we check out the film? You know, go to the GoFund her and stuff like that. Is your Indiegogo that campaign's over now?
Yeah, that one we maxed that out because the longest you could do an Indiegogo is 60 days.
Okay.
Push the hell out of it for 60 days.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah. Is that a new rule? It wasn't like that before. Really?
It's been like because
it's always been like that.
It's always been like that. 60 days.
Yeah, the max.
I think what you call it is the same, right? Or is it a little longer? Is that Kickstarter?
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
60.
But isn't it like if you, let's say you ask for 500 and you got 60 days, but if you get the 500, then it just keeps going because people are still, even though you reached your limit, but people are still doing it. It just keeps going. I don't think it does delete.
Right. If you reach your goal, it keeps going. If you do not reach your goal, then it's over at the 60 days. But I think with Indiegogo, the good thing about them is, you know, you get to keep you're like Kickstarter, you gotta give it back. Like if you don't reach your goal on Kickstarter, you gotta give all the money back. So if your goal is 10,000 and you get 9,000, you gotta give that 9,000 back. You know, but that's all good. But let me know what's the link.
The GoFund her link is GoFund her /Boxer Film. Let me just double check that.
Okay.
1 second.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna put it in the chat room, and anybody who's interested in, you know, becoming a, you know, contributor to this film. And what we also, and tell us a little bit about, you know, the stuff that you have there, because you know all of these donations and stuff, they usually you get something, whether it's a t-shirt, a poster, stuff like that. The perks. There you go. That's what they call it. The perks. Right. So that URL is right? GoFund her
/Boxer Film.
Okay, but is it GoFundher.com /Boxer Film?
Sorry. GoFund.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I wanted to go in properly, and of course I'll put it on our page as well, so people.
Okay, thank you.
You know what I mean? Of course. All right, so tell us about the perks.
Okay, so the way we did the perks, because the film is called Boxer and it's boxing affiliated. Each perk is a weight class. So we have like bantamweight and super featherweight, lightweight, and it goes down the list. So we have things like official boxer t-shirt. I have one on. This is a limited edition, but it'll be another round for everybody that donates and if they fit that perk. So they'll get things like the boxer t-shirt, they'll get buttons, they'll get hoodies. Of course, they get social media shout outs.
Right.
If you donate like $100 or more, you get access to the VIP Boxer page on Instagram. So there you'll see like more BTS, and you'll get to kind of be with us when we're on set. You'll get to see all of the BTS from the stuff we shot already, which everybody else is not privy to. You can also get a one-on-one private boxing session with my trainer.
Oh, nice.
It could be virtual or it can be in studio, which is in Brooklyn. What else we got here?
What's the trainer's name? Shout him out.
His name is Josh, and he's on Instagram at fit2box. That's his gym. He just got a ring put in. It's super nice, and you're probably thinking, well, why can't you shoot there? Because it's a boxing studio, so it doesn't have the gritty feel that I've had before. Yeah,
I got you. Makes sense.
So, but he's dope. He's a dope trainer. He's He's excited to have me back next week. He's excited to torture me. I get it. But I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, you know, so those are some of the perks.
That's what's up. That training one is that's what's up.
That's the best one, man. Especially nowadays, people love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, to get off that quarantine weight.
Yeah.
You need to drop that quarantine weight. You need to get out, my dude.
That'll get it off of you. That will get it off of you.
Yo, boxing is such a disciplined sport, and I respect anybody that even attempts to do it. I remember when we used to just play box, like we used to have, like, you know, the boxing gloves, the soft ones, the soft gloves, and on the block, man, we used to do it, right? And it's like 1 minute, and we're bent over. Oh my God. And I'm like, yo, one time we tried to do 3-minute rounds, and we were only doing like 4 rounds, 3-minute rounds. I swear to God, I think I used up my asthma pump that day.
Wow.
Yo, I was like, when is it 3 minutes? I was like, everybody was like, nah, so you got it. I said, yo, I actually got in an argument with the timekeeper. I was like, you lying, man. It is not, it's been 3 minutes. He's like, no, that's it. It's only been like a minute and a half. Yeah.
30 seconds.
Let me tell you something. I watch that clock when I'm in training because the clock will set the clock for like 30 rounds and each round is a minute. And I'll be looking at that clock like, is that clock working? Because it don't feel like, you know, but I moved past 30 rounds and we'll do more like 40 rounds and then more rounds of conditioning, like calisthenics and all that. It's just hell, but it's
that bell is hell. That's what you remember.
Bell is hell. About boxing films now, I mean, what made you want to write a film with that as the backdrop, with, you know, the boxing as the backdrop? Because if it's touching on mental health, it could have been about anything. Could have been any type of film. What made you write about, you know, with a boxer or boxers?
Oh, I felt like I haven't seen very many films where the lead is a woman that is a boxer who is a type A personality. You know, we got like $1 Million Babies, and we got like $1 Million Baby, we got Girl Fight, we got, you know, a couple of movies here and there, but I can't recall seeing one that is primarily led. Like, my whole cast is Black. And that was like a choice, like a purposeful choice. So, you know, a strong Black woman lead, we don't see that. And there was something about boxing that I've always liked my entire life. I never thought that I would be in that position as the boxer, but I like seeing, I'm an athlete. So that it probably stems from that, you know, subconsciously, but seeing women, strong women, that means something to me because, you know, I have a niece, I have nephews, and I always feel like as indie filmmakers and writers, we can get into a habit of being like, damn, we don't see any good films anymore. So it's just like, instead of saying it, you got to do something about it. So you need to write what you want to see.
That's exactly what I said. You know, I said that with the you know, a lot of people, which is, you know, right after we're done here, we're going to talk about the, you know, sequels. We're going to talk about the Coming to America. And it's like, I saw a lot of people complaining about things. And like, this one person made this long ass post that I didn't even read. You know, a post so long, you skip it.
It's like, a whole thesis.
It's a whole thesis. And she's like, I'm African and I'm so offended by this film and this and that. And Hollywood hasn't learned yet. And my only comment to that was, well, if you want a film about how Africa is depicted in your eyesight, make one. That plain and simple. I'm tired of people complaining and whining about how films aren't supposed to be like this. It should be like this. The internet has leveled the playing field a little bit, so it's not as hard as it used to be to make films. Back when we was doing trade-off, it was hard to get a film done and put out there. It's still hard, but it's not as hard. You know what I mean? It's a little bit level playing field now because of the internet, streaming and stuff like that. So guess what? And if not everyone is inclined to make a film, if you don't want to make it yourself, then I'm pretty sure there's independent filmmakers from Africa that you could get behind. Get behind an independent filmmaker, support a local filmmaker, and let him tell the story of how Africa really is. Because she's like, oh, there are lions and all this stuff. And it shouldn't have been like that. I lived in Ghana all my half my life.
But did you live in Zamunda?
Yeah,
I'm
like,
Zamunda?
Did you live in
that's what I'm
Zamunda?
about to say. Are you from Zamunda? You know? So I'm just like, are there lions on the continent of Africa? Yes or no? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, to me, it's like I would complain if they was in Orlando, Florida, and there's lions running around. Okay, then I say, wait, that's not right.
Off. Yeah,
that's a little off, unless you talk about freaking Disney World. You know,
Yeah, Six Flags or something. Like, come on,
so that's funny that you said that, and that's I live by that. If you want to see something, stop complaining, do it. If you can't do it yourself, there's plenty of local independent filmmakers that could use your support. Support them, and say, "Yo, I'm gonna get behind you, brother or sister. If you make this, Africa is like this, and this is how it should be. I want you to do it. I guarantee you that filmmaker will do it."
Right. Right. Wow.
That's my little soapbox moment. But
I've seen a lot of people complaining about Coming to America, and I just don't. I think it's everyone's comparing it to the first one. I'm like, first of all, too much time has passed. That's the
way too much time.
So I'll watch it again. I really liked the film. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was ridiculous, but it was the blackest movie that I've seen in a while. So I was.
And to be honest, I know I just stepped off my soapbox, but to be honest, it's good to see a black film, all black people, and nobody was getting pimped out. Nobody was getting whipped, enslaved, and nobody really. It's good to see that every now and again. No crackheads, where dude he didn't sell crack, he was scalping tickets. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like people were a little upset about that because he wasn't selling crack. He was they're a little upset that Eddie didn't, what's his name? Akeem didn't purposely leave his son. He didn't even know he had one. You know what I mean? It's like they want to see the stereotype so they can complain about it, and then when they don't see the stereotype, they complain about it. So it's like
you're never gonna be satisfied.
Can't have it both ways.
Exactly. So that's what it is. I'm going to, in a few minutes, I'm going to rant about that for the rest of the show and get people mad at me. But it's all good. And I challenge people, all these people in these groups that I'm in. I'm like, come on my show. I'll let you say what you got to say. I'm not, I'm not here to just talk about, say your piece instead of writing. Because really, the long ass posts can actually be said in like 2 minutes as opposed to me reading it 3 pages.
But they punks. That's what it is. And I said they're internet punks.
Yo, some thugs. I can't.
I got names for them, Katie. We got keyboard killers, mouse pad mobsters. That's what I call them. And broadband bloods.
Broadband
computer crips.
Computer.
Those are good ones. I might have to borrow those.
Keyboard killers and mouse pad mobsters. That's what they are.
That mouse boy.
Broadband bloods. So that's what's up, Katie. We appreciate you coming through, man, and definitely I'm gonna send me the link, and I'm gonna make sure I put the link out. On the thing, try to promote as much as can. I'll reach out to my girl, to reach out to her boy, to see about the boxing gym. 6 Degrees and Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And we'll get Ralph on it too, man. I appreciate you.
Already on it.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I had a blast tonight. It was really good to catch up with you guys.
I just don't want to get beat up. That's all I'm saying. I just don't want to get beat up.
I got you. I got
that hookup and you won't get free.
I'm brutal.
I got you.
Thanks,
don't
Katie.
worry about it. Bye, guys.
Have a good one. All right, baby.
Good night.
Good night.
So there you go, man. That's a good man. That's a good.
That's all I can say.
Good girl. I really, I won't call her girl. She's a woman, but that's my homie right there, man. We had a really, really good time shooting the trade-off. And you know, I didn't load up the bloopers, but I would have showed the bloopers too, because that was hilarious. We had a lot of bloopers because I told you, like, some of the stuff we were letting them improv, so some of the stuff was just yeah, I'm laughing myself just thinking about it, because it's just, we had some real funny moments in this film. But it took us 11 days to shoot our first feature film. The film came in at, I think, 82 minutes, and it wasn't bad, man. It was challenging, you know, because we shot the film, you know, we wrote the film, then we went and shot it, then I had to edit, you know, and we was editing at this. It's funny, we was editing at this. I forgot the name of the studio, but it was in Manhattan, and but it was in the same building that Diddy had his studio, Daddy's House, right?
I know what that is. That's on 40.
Yeah,
it's like 40.
It's like 42nd is 43. Yeah, 43rd, something like that.
Yeah, I was in there.
Yeah.
44th around, somewhere around there.
And like what, maybe between like 8th and 9th or something like that. It is. Yep. Yeah. So we were there, you know, Daddy's House studio right in there. We were on like I don't know, we might have been the 3rd or 4th floor, whatever. But anyway, I saw a lot of people, because I would just go outside to, you know, catch my breath and, you know, clear my head and walk away from, because I mean, literally, Sherman had me up in that place a day, not every day, a day. A day I was up in there, and for hours I was sleeping in that mug, literally. I mean, I had Sherb coming through, dropping off money and food to me and keeping it moving, and I was just sitting there like, so I'd go downstairs, take a break, you know, every now and then. I saw Mary J. Blige come in and out of there. I seen Little Kim coming in and out of there. I saw somebody else too, because they were actually working on what was the Biggie out, the posthumous Biggie album, not Life After Death though, because he actually was alive when he made that album. It was the other one.
That's
I forgot the name of that album.
Is it Duets?
Not Duets, but it's called something else. But it's maybe it's is it Born Again or no?
Born Again.
Is that what it's called? Yeah,
yeah.
That one. They were working on that. So I think Redman came through there. I saw him too. I've seen a lot of people. Almost every time I stepped outside, I saw another quote unquote celebrity or you know, artist coming out there, because they were all working on that. I didn't get the chance to see Eminem. Somebody told me Eminem came through. So I was just like, yo, that was crazy. But I didn't. But the engineer that I was talking to there, that was the first time I ever spoke to someone who worked close with Diddy or worked for Diddy, and really gave me the real on Diddy, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
he was
man.
like,
Diddy is like, when he's in it, he's focused. He's like laser focused.
He was like, yo, dude, it's like blah blah blah. So it was interesting, but yeah. So so we did the trade-off. We started shooting, I think, the summer of 2000. It might have been 2004, actually, when we started shooting it. And then we had about a year to get it all put together. And then when we got into the American, the Long Island International Film Expo, and we had such a turnout, because I mean, you know, we're Long Island filmmakers, you know, myself, Sherman Sawyer, we as they say now, we broke the internet, you know what I mean? But it wasn't the internet back there. We broke the box office, sold out completely, and it was just crazy. And then we did it we screened it a couple of nights there, and then, you know, we ended up getting the Audience Choice Award, which was cool. Where I went to the film festival to receive the award, award festival. That's when I met what's his name? My man who played Manny from Scarface.
Oh, Stephen Bauer.
Stephen Bauer. I met Stephen Bauer because I was there with a Scarface tie. I had a tie it was a Scarface tie, and I was wearing a black shirt and a Scarface, red and black Scarface tie.
Wow.
And I'm there. I had no idea Stephen Bauer was supposed to be there. And we're just there, boom, boom. And I see Stephen Bauer. Abe Vigoda was there too. Abe Vigoda was there.
You met Fish?
We met Fish, bro. Yeah, it was good, man. I was like, yeah, Fish, or even I call him Fish, but I call him Tessio as well from The Godfather. Hey Tom, can you help me out for old time's sake? Tom's like,
nope,
can't do it, bro.
Can't do that.
Couldn't do that for him. But there was a lot of people there. But Stephen Bauer came up to me. He saw me with the tie on. He said, I gotta take a picture with you. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I gotta take a picture with you with that tie, man. The tie's awesome. I was like, let's do it. So we took a picture. That's funny. I didn't know I was going to talk about this, so I didn't queue up the picture to show people. But I'll put it on the site afterwards. So let's get to it, though.
I was having this long conversation yesterday about just that particular subject, about why I always carry like multiple cameras with me. And I said because I go places all the time. And I was like always running into somebody, and I didn't have a camera that. Because, a lot of people like, yeah, right, so-and-so. Yeah, right, you met so-and-so. I guess nowadays it's a little easier. But back
easier now, yeah. But back then, I know what you mean. People be like,
It was like, yeah, right, you met so-and-so. So now I got people like, oh, damn, you really did meet him. Exactly. Like, who was you? Oh, yeah.
And how did you
I was talking to
Stephen Bauer?
Exactly. So I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and I was telling him about, like some things I missed in New York City, like, being in the Virgin Megastore. I walk up in there one day, and I happened to be there the day Boyz II Men is doing the album signing. Like if I didn't have pictures of it, I'd be like, yeah, right, you met Boyz II Men. Sure,
yeah.
You did.
And it's like, it's not hard to meet these people. It's just,
Sometimes it's just strictly circumstances.
Circumstance, exactly.
At the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time.
Bam! You're like, oh wow, you're really so.
Yeah, so that was that. But that was a good, I used to wear. That was my lucky tie for a while. I actually was wearing that tie again when I met Maya. That was my lucky tie, man.
You might have to break that tie back out. You might have to break it back out.
I'm gonna have to break that tie back out. Every time I wore that tie, bro, I met somebody that I wanted to meet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I always wanted to meet Stephen Bauer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what's up. That's Manny.
Now Maya,
get the yayo.
Maya, on the other hand, like.
There's me and Stephen Bauer right there. There it is. So now people can. There's the proof.
No man, go. No man, go get the yayo. Go get the yayo.
Get the yayo.
Go get the yayo.
That's funny as hell. My man Sal. Shout out to Sal Gayton, the best graphic designer on the East Coast, if not more than in America. Sal Gayton had this was a long time ago. He put the comment on there. No, get the yayo. That's what he put there. He said, get the yayo.
Now, you know what? I need to interrupt. For this, since you put this picture, because Scarface was on the other night, and this is for everybody watching the show right now, right? Should Tony really have killed Manny?
No, that, bro. We can spend a whole show on that because I talked about that before too, and obviously my answer is no because I believe had he not have killed Manny, Manny could have been there to watch his back, and he may not have been gotten killed by the other guy. Spoiler alert! If you ever see Scarface, shame on you. But he wouldn't have got killed by the other guy.
But the other argument is that wait a minute, he told them from point blank. He did tell him. She's not for you. She's not for you.
Yeah.
And he did it. Anyway.
He did tell. This is probably the first. This is probably the first instance where I could say he shouldn't have did it, but I know why he did it.
Yeah.
Because he knew what type of person Manny was. Also, in this business is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? To I guess he figured he was always trying to keep his sister out of it. But I guess you figure once she started getting into it, she's going to end up with a guy like him. But that's another thing. I'm thinking he, was like, hey, Manny is going to, spit her out. You know what I'm saying? He's going to spit her out. And then since I mentioned the lucky tie with Stephen Bauer, I must say the lucky tie.
Oh man, F you.
Here it is again. Here it is again. The lucky tie.
F
my
you,
girl
man.
Maya. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude.
I'm going to tell you. I'm gonna say this every day and 3 times Sunday. F you. F you.
Shout out to Maya. Everybody knows that is my future ex-wife. So everybody knows that. It's my future ex-wife.
You better be careful, man, because the current one might say, "Oh, really?"
That's my future ex-wife.
Eat this steak that I just made for you. I dare you. I double dare you.
Yeah, Maya was a pleasure to meet. She smells amazing, and she's so soft. She really is. I don't know what the hell it must be that vegan shit she does. I don't know, but she just like her skin glows. Literally, that was just a little flash right there. I'm telling you, you see this woman in person, her skin glows. I don't know what that's all about. That must be the vegan.
I actually know someone that got a beef against Maya.
My God.
She got a deep beef against Maya.
Let me tell you something. Maya is such a cool person, and she came on not my show because we weren't doing the show yet. My brother's show, the Heaven Hollywood Experience. She came on there one time and really was a good sport. She took calls. And you know how it is on Blog Talk. Sometimes you don't know who the hell's gonna be on that line. You know what I mean? You get some crazies on there sometimes. We've gotten our share. She was taking calls. She was very, very interactive. She was very responsive. Like, she wasn't bougie. She was very cool. And I like I said, and when we met her, this is one of like 5 or 6 pictures she took with us. Like, she took a lot of pictures with us. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of people there. Kwame was there that night. Shout out to Kwame. He was there that night. I remember.
Did he have polka dots on? He always got polka dots.
I don't know. I don't remember if he had on any polka dots, but he was there. That was my dude, man. He's a good dude too, man. Shout out to Kwame. He's my friend here on Facebook. We kick it every now and then. He actually transitioned himself into a producer. He's a very dope producer. Yeah, he's a pretty dope producer. Yeah, he's always been doing production and writing and also I said at the top of the show that when I was talking about my boy Shamello, I'm working on this docu series. In case you didn't know, we're going to be interviewing Dr. Freeze, who worked on and wrote and produced Poison for Belle Biv DeVoe. Now, there was a rumor that floated around the industry for many years that Kwame wrote the rhymes to Poison for Ronnie DeVoe and Michael Bivins. When I spoke to Shamello, rest in peace, he kind of cleared that up for me and confirmed that Kwame wrote Ronnie DeVoe's verse and someone else wrote Michael Bivins' verse. But Kwame wrote if you remember the verse from looking for a mellow fellow like DeVoe getting paid. So that he and from what I always heard is he did it on the strength. Like, I don't even think he got paid for it or got credit for it. He may have got paid. They may have broke him off. But when he did it, he literally wrote it on like a napkin or something and gave it to like in a limo or something like that. That's what I heard. We need to get Kwame up here and let him clear it up for sure. Get hear it from the horse's mouth. But I plan on reaching out to him anyway to be part of the documentary. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I met Kwame a few times. I'm friends with Ralph McDaniel, some of the old scrappers, and they were doing for years. They've been doing this hip hop party once a month at N1 Lounge in New York City. And Kwame showed there one night. I was like, oh damn! And see, that lounge is one of them places, where if you a hip hop act and you step in that building, you getting on that stage. Right?
Yeah,
they going. Ralph McDaniels is DJing. He's like, yo, Kwame, give it up for Kwame in the house. Pass the mic. And you getting up, even if you just chilling, you getting up. Like one night they caught Greg Nice up in there, got him on stage. Now, Greg Nice, for those that never heard of Greg Nice, and if you never heard of him, you got real serious issues if you're a hip hop fan. But he's with the group Nice and Smooth. So he has a partner. He does his raps with a partner. But he was like, I ain't got, I ain't got Smooth me, but guess what? I'm doing Hip Hop Junkies. He did Hip Hop Junkies live, just his part while doing the beatbox. And he was just hanging out having a beer. They was like, no, my brother, you getting up on stage. They brought Nikki D. Nikki D just came in there, yo, on the mic. Mike is live. What's up? She did Daddy's Little Girl. She didn't do it all, but she did enough of it that appeased the crowd. That's how it is. So Kanye came up in it. It was like, what you gonna do? So they wanted him to do what's that? The first single he did, I forget the name of it, but I was like, nah, I want to hear you do Only You. That was my jam. Do Only You. So they started playing the beat. He was like, oh, it's like that. It was like, yeah, Only You. And he did a little bit, but he can't do the sing where they sing Only You because that's a girl singing that part. But he was able to do something like that, but it was a good night. So that was a good night. Yo, M1 Lounge, man. Damn, another shameless plug. It's closed right now. But when it come back, hip hop Thursday nights every month, M1 Lounge. Somebody needs to be cutting me a check today.
For real, bro. For real. You do it right now. Before we jump into the next, we're gonna talk about sequels. Let's move on to that. Sequels. All right. And then we'll briefly start off sequels with talk about coming to America. And Joseph had mentioned something way back when he said he was just talking about different sequels. He said about are we gonna watch Space Jam 2? And then he brought up the fact that the new news about Pepe Le Pew being removed from Space Jam 2. I can't even say this with a straight face.
Okay, I can say this. All right.
I can't even say it with a straight face, Ralph.
Let me just say this.
Oh my goodness, God.
To all of you back having tattoo pants hanging off your asses, keyboard clicking millennials. And I'm gonna take this and make a video. Say, let's look. I am sorry that you never had Saturday morning cartoons. I am sorry that you never had Saturday morning kung fu movies. I'm sorry that you never experienced for the first time He-Man, Thundercats, Looney Tunes, Woody Woodpecker, the Flintstones. I'm really sorry that your backward ass time period never had these things. Stop with the cancel culture with things that were made Looney Tunes for fun. It's for kids. Yeah. You don't put that much stock in.
But yeah, they take two. Well, everybody are so-called deep thinkers these days, and they're like Pepe Le Pew. Well, this was actually, it's not even just the millennials. Well, I don't know if this writer is a millennial writer, but it's that writer in that article who actually sparked all of this. And he was saying about Pepe Le Pew promotes rape culture.
Oh my God. Like I'm sorry.
He said he advances rape culture, and I'm sitting there like, oh my Jesus.
It's a cartoon.
Pepe Le Pew. It was a New York Times columnist, and he talks about Pepe Le Pew. He now we know for maybe some of you millennials and Gen Zers, you may not know who Pepe Le Pew is. And if not, I feel sorry for you as well. But Pepe Le Pew is a Looney Tunes character. He is a French speaking
skunk.
Skunk. He is a skunk. And he always the running joke on that thing is there's this cat who always somehow, she is a female cat, and she somehow always gets some paint falls on her, and it kind of makes her look like a skunk. And because of that, Pepe Le Pew is constantly pursuing her, and this he's running up on her. She's running from him constantly, and this, that, and the other. Now, here's the deal, people. First of all, we know it's a cartoon. Second of all, she's not running from him because he's just trying to rape her. She's running from him because he's a skunk. He's a skunk.
He stinks.
That's why she's running from him. She's not running from him because she's so appalled because he's trying to rape her. He's a skunk and she's a cat that he thinks is a skunk. That's the point of the joke. Please, people, please stop with this. Stop.
And once again, for you, back having, crack of your ass tattoo having, keyboard clicking, pants hanging off your ass millennials. Let me educate you something about that whole point right there. That he's a skunk. There's one episode where the cat falls into the water and catches a cold and can no longer smell. What did the cat do? The cat locked Pepe Le Pew up in a room. And he's like, Shetty? And she's just looking at him like, yeah, I'm gonna tear you up now. Now, if you really want to look deeper into that, then I'm sorry, but you have real serious psychological problems. If you're really looking into a cartoon.
Yeah.
You might as well go in there.
It advances rape culture.
Right.
That's what he said.
That's going to be as bad as me sitting here saying I hate He-Man because He-Man was so buff and he made it seem like, if you work out, you're going to have the power. So if I don't work out, I'm nobody.
I'm going to boycott. I'm going to cancel The Last Dragon. I'm going to cancel The Last Dragon because I ain't got the glow. Right. I've been practicing martial arts all my life and I still ain't got the glow. I'm canceling The Last Dragon.
I'm canceling the honeymoons because anytime Ralph and Al is really getting, he says, one of these days, bam, not to the moon. But is he
I haven't heard
encouraging violence?
Yeah. I haven't heard. Now that's a good point. And I am myself, my brother. We are big Honeymooner fans, always been. And I'm surprised, maybe because of he's not relevant because oh my God, what is it? Jackie Gleason obviously has passed away, and there's really no one that's around from that show. So now, that show still airs. That show still airs
every Saturday night. Every Saturday night you say it airs.
And I'm not saying this because I want it canceled, because I don't want the cancel culture to cancel it. I don't care about the cancel. I don't want the TV to cancel it. But the bottom line is, all of that is part of the joke, right? That was part. Plus, it was part of the culture from back then. Did Ralph Cramden ever actually put his hands on Alice Cramden?
No. Alice would fuck him up. I'm sorry, he would.
That's one thing. Second of all, it's just part. I mean, come on, people. So now Pepe Le Pew will not be in the next Space Jam movie.
Well, they trying to say it's not because it's like he was already cut. Now, I'm a good grade. If he was already cut, then why is this article even coming out?
This article is a piece of garbage, in my opinion. You doing stuff like, it's just like, people going crazy because of the lyrics of "Baby, It's Cold Outside." Like, come on, man, find something else to do. It's the same type of deal. They would say, the song is a little rapey, "Baby, It's Cold." Because because of some of the words that he says and blah blah blah. He's trying to convince her to come. He's like pouring a drink for her. He's like trying to convince her to stay. And I'm just like, come on, folks. Like, you're looking too deep. You look it too deep into it. You know, it's you got too much on your hands now.
Cancel.
But,
Excuse me. Cancel culture. Right. Here's a few people that's currently on television that I don't want you to mess with. You don't need to mess with Homer Simpson because every time Bart pisses him off, he chokes him. You don't need to mess with Homer because it's.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll be coming soon. Like they don't want it, and the funny thing is, the millennials and the people the younger people and the culture that complains about this stuff. Look at what you watch on television, on YouTube, not on television, on YouTube. You're watching a bunch of crap on YouTube. You gotta remember, these are kids that are growing up watching people commit suicide on live, on live streams and on YouTube, and people getting their brains blown, people getting beat up, people getting jumped.
Forget that. You tap back having. I gotta figure a way to say that. You tattoo back having. Millennials. Isn't y'all big thing reality TV where every other? I'm sorry, I've seen some reality TV. Almost every other word is a bitch.
Yeah.
A fight. Bitch. A fight.
Right.
Fight. Bitch. So
and why isn't reality shows canceled? Why isn't that canceled? Why haven't you canceled that cancel culture?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're bringing back the real world, which started the whole thing. I'm sorry. And no disrespect to if you want to talk about cancel culture, Tammy Roman, but Tammy Roman on the Real World flat out accused someone of raping her while the cameras was going and showed that he did nothing of the sort. Nothing. All he did, they was all playing around, and he grabbed the comforter that she had on where she wasn't top, but she had a bra on in her pants. And then she went screaming that he raped her, and MTV kicked her off. But y'all bringing that show back on.
Like I said, that's a whole nother show, the cancel culture thing. But thanks for bringing that up, Joseph. But let's get into it so we don't go too far over the schedule. Let's talk about Coming to America, and then that'll lead us into sequels, and then we'll close out the show with our top 5 movies that made you cry. So. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'm actually going to do a separate video to put it out there to let people understand. First of all, Coming to America, Eddie Murphy. Obviously it's a sequel. It's a direct sequel to the film Coming to America. Another film that also it kept a lot of the same formula as the first film. Of course, it's going to be better than the first film. If you expected that, you're out of your mind. You should have never even expected that. The first film, which I might add, did not get good reviews either, even though it made a lot of money. And what's up, Jimmy Ace? Thanks for coming in, brother. The first film made a lot of money, but the critics did not give the first Coming to America a lot of good reviews as well, which also leads me to tell you, don't just listen to critics, see the film for yourself so you can understand if you like it or not. This film comes out, same formula. It picks up 30 years later. It tells you this is pretty much a continuation. It's telling you where these characters are now in life and what they're doing. And what a lot of things that people are missing is the evolution of the characters. And how they evolved, how they changed over the years. For instance, perfect example, might have flew over a lot of people's head. Garcella, what's her last name? Garcella Bouveau. Yes, Fancy. I always call her Fancy.
Hey,
Garcella Bouveau, who was actually a flower girl in the first one. You see a quick shot of her as soon as the film comes on. She's actually in charge of the Flower Girls now. So she's evolved. She's been promoted, I guess. She's now the flower controller.
She's no longer Queen in the Royal Penis. She moved up. She moved up.
She's not a flower girl anymore.
I'm sorry, but if you promoted her from Queen in the Royal Penis, you need to be fired.
But here's the deal. Now, that's one little thing, right? You also know that obviously Akeem is still the prince, and then at the beginning of the movie, and this is kind of like, I guess, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it yet, But at the beginning of the movie, you have James Earl Jones, King Joffrey. He is, he's sick. He's dying. He's not just sick. He's dying, and everybody knows he's dying. But he's the one, and everyone saw that from the trailer. He's the one that tells Eddie or tells Hakeem that he has a son, right? Same deal with that, though. The evolution of the character. So Eddie, the character, Hakeem, has now been acclimated to being the prince, and he's getting groomed to become king, which he's been doing all his life. Lisa, who he married in the first one, is now, obviously the princess, Lisa, and both of them, the characters, have kind of gotten used to that life, right? And all of the things that you may have thought his character might have done, he didn't do. You know what I'm saying? 30 years later, he just kind of went to the laws of Zamunda and just follow suit, right? So this is an important point that I'm making here, because that's evolution of the character, and it also shows you the character never fully met his arc from the first film, and now he's going to this. Well, he met it, but now he went back to his old ways, and the ways of Zamunda. And you see later in the film that he has to once again make that, make that change. Sound like Michael Jackson, right? He once again has to make that decision to say, hey, it's almost the same thing as the mother, the queen, said to the king, well, who am I to change it? I thought you was the king. She said, I thought you was the king. You know what I'm saying? So same deal. This movie followed the same formula as the first one, and it brought back the characters, almost every character. There's a few that didn't come back, but they really weren't relevant. The only one that I would say would have been a little bit cool to see would have been the sister, would have been Lisa's sister. If we would have seen a quick little something, because she did work at McDonald's as well, so maybe she is the the CEO, or maybe she's the president now or something, because old dude is still the owner, but who knows, maybe she could have been like whatever.
Now when she got with the Soul Glow guy.
She got the Soul. That would have been cool. That would have been cool to show you. Like, I'd be like, it would have been cool to see like Soul Glow. Now they don't do Soul Glow anymore. Maybe they do like man units for dudes that want to get the hair pieces, and maybe they want to do like weaves for women and stuff like that. They don't do Jerry curls no more.
Lace fronts.
Right, lace fronts. Right, they do lace fronts. So that's cool. That would have been cool, but they didn't show that. No, they weren't missed. But you got back the barbershop guys. You got back Randy Watson. You got back the preacher. It's just like, come on, man. And you got a couple of new characters. You got a new character with the witch doctor that Arsenio Hall played. And it's like, I mean, what else do you want? And I've seen people complaining about this movie, saying, oh my God, this movie was trash. And like I said before, it's a film where an all black cast again. And remember, the first film had one notable white person in it, and they were forced to put him in. Eddie Murphy confirmed that in an interview. He said, him and Arsenio Hall said, Paramount forced them to put a white guy in the film. So they said, oh, let's put Louis Anderson in it. He's funny. So they put Louis Anderson in it.
I'm sorry, even with that one, you know what? I admit that Louis Anderson was cool, but I think the only reason he's that guy is because Sam Kinison passed away. Sam Kinison in that would have killed it.
Sam Kinison, it would have been a whole. It would have been a whole different thing. It would have been a whole different thing. Sam Kinison would have been like, so would you like fries with that? And he'd be like, what? What are you doing? Do you like fries? Ah! He'd have been screaming.
Sam, are your rings here? We make fries.
Yeah, Sam Kinison would have just took it in a whole nother world.
It would have went real quick.
It would have went real funny though. It would have been real funny. I like Louis. Like you said, Sam Kinison. I would Sam Kinison would have really took that in another direction. But so all black cast, of course. It seems like the this culture, this generation, or what people even, and I'm not just blaming it on the young people. It's some people that are even our age that has conformed to this new form of lifestyle, the way people do things now. They're so used to reality television and shock TV, shock culture, that just a simple, funny film is not good enough for them. Nah. There's no, Eddie Murphy, not a big man of controversy, really. He's had his run-ins with a little bit of controversy in his personal life. Not really, but because he stays with himself a lot. He does, Eddie was built for this pandemic. Eddie was built for the pandemic because he don't leave his house unless he's going to that spot, that coffee spot he goes to every day. Other than that, Eddie Murphy brings everything to him. The only thing about this pandemic that changed for him is people don't come to his house as much to party. You know what I mean? But Eddie got a bowling alley and everything else.
He ain't at Bowl Hill no more.
Right. So here's the deal. It seems like everyone, has something to complain. And I've seen people complaining about almost damn near everything. Like I said when we had Katie Mack on, someone wrote this book that I just skipped through most of it, that basically said she's African and she's offended by and trust me, other people was offended by the first coming to America. There were some Africans saying, oh, it's stereotypical, oh, it's depicting Africans, oh, we don't all ride on the backs of elephants and we don't got bones in our noses, which it wasn't bones in them. I'm just saying they're using it as an example, saying whatever.
But here's my question with that one. Why didn't you come after Black Panther? Because I'm sure Black Panther, realistically speaking, has some stereotypical pieces in it that you guys could say something. How come you didn't go after Chappie or District 9 that basically made it seem like South Africa, Johannesburg is a slum? Why didn't you say anything then? Oh, well, you don't put that part.
But here's the deal. First of all, Zamunda is a made-up country. Okay, it's a fictional country. So guess what? They can put in there what the hell they want to put in there. It's a fictional country on the continent of Africa. Okay, so my thing is this: you want to complain that all African cities don't have lions around there and elephants? My question, like I said when I had her on the show, are there lions on the continent of Africa? Yes or no? Yes. Are there elephants on the continent of Africa? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
All of the other, zebras. Are there zebras on the continent of Africa? Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah. Did you dumbasses see Blended with? Oh, you probably didn't. But Blended with Adam Sandler.
Right. Come on. So here's the deal. Because those animals are on the continent of Africa, in some countries, in some areas, isn't it possible that Zamunda would have a fictional country would have those things in them? Does that mean that that's all that Africa is about? Does that mean that's his version of Africa? That's how he depicts Africa. First of all, it doesn't mean that. Second of all, once again, I say this again, if you are not satisfied with how Africa has been depicted in films, why don't you do something about it? If you're not a filmmaker, that's okay. There are plenty of independent filmmakers that would love you to support them.
Yep.
They would love for you to support them. Support your local filmmaker and say, you know what? I got a cause. I want to show America, I want to show the world that Africa is more than what you think people think it is. Okay? And you get a filmmaker to do it the way you see it fit. And they're talking about, I grew up in Ghana and I've never even seen a squirrel. Well, I say to you, whatever your name is, who made that post, have you ever been to Zamunda? And if you haven't, I think I know the answer to that question. I mean, since you haven't, guess what? then we don't need to talk about that what ain't in Africa or certain cities in Africa. Or, so that's that. I mean, people just take things too far when it comes to. They also complained about. So some people just said, if you're just gonna say that this film, I'm gonna put it like this: for someone to say that this film was not funny at all, then that leads me that tells me that you probably didn't like the first film, because it uses a lot of the same formula of the first film, and it's connected. It tells you about characters from the first film. It connects the first film. It is just a 30-year pickup story from the first film. That's all it is. So if you think that this film was not funny at all, you probably didn't really like the first film. That's all I can say. And that's your right. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But to say that, some of the things that I've seen the complaints about, and then the latest complaint, Ralph, is the director, I forget his name again, but he's a white guy. So now it's not good enough to have an all-black cast. So the director, now, I heard that now. So the white guy shouldn't be directing black films. Now, first of all, my answer to that is this. Coming to America, the story, is not a black story. It's just a story. It's a classic fairy tale story. Coming to America could have been about a British guy, a prince coming to America to find a woman. It could have been about it could have been about an Arabian prince coming to America to find a woman. It is not a black story. It is told from the perspective of a fictional African country and characters. Yes, and so that's what makes it black. It's a film that is written and produced by black people, but it's not a quote unquote black story. And my point of bringing that up is any director should be able to direct this film and tell this narrative. He didn't write the film.
I'm sorry, but do you guys know who directed Coming to America, the original?
Right, another white guy. John Landis. John Landis.
Wow. The same, and let me make this point. The same guy who black people loved for doing Michael Jackson's Thriller, a white guy. Once again, cancel culture. Stop it.
Stop. Exactly. John Landis.
Millennials.
You're just looking for things to complain about. And it's just really, really annoying. I see, like that night it came out. It actually was on Amazon Prime Thursday night, and I watched it when it went up. And oh my God, between this weekend was so tiring reading the so-called reviews from people about Coming to America and how this is my take on Coming to America. I'm a hater. That's basically they could have did it in like 3 words. I'm a hater.
You might as well hold the sign and big letter says, "I'm a hater."
That's it. You could have took that book you wrote on Facebook and summed it up in 3 words. I'm a hater. That's it. That's it. Because it's just, this film is it had heart. It was fun. It was humorous. It was nostalgic. And it paid homage. What else do you want from a 30-year-old sequel? It did more for me than freaking Blade Runner 20 whatever did for me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I kind of like Blade Runner, but
I mean,
my main criticism was that Blade Runner was too damn long. It's almost 3. Like, come on, it didn't need to be 3 hours long. Visually, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it was great.
But it didn't
of course,
it did not need to be 3 hours long. Sorry.
So
that's 140 minutes right there. That's what it should have been.
Yeah. And my last point on it, and I'll let you, if you have a point to make on it, but and then we get to sequels. But my last point on this is leading into my point about sequels. Okay, I challenge anybody And anyone, I posted this link in the rooms that I'm in that's been talking all this crap about coming to America. I challenge you, come on this show and you tell me if you think, and I shouldn't even give you a week to prep, but you want to come on next week, that's fine. You will be hard pressed. You tell me what sequel clearly is better than its predecessor. It's let alone 30 years later. It's not a lot of films that are 30 years later, but there's a few. Blade Runner is one of them. The Blade Runner sequel is about 30 years later, something like that. Like I said, there are some, of course. We all know that. And in a lot of films, people got to understand when you're making these films, and there's a lot of more to come. Trust me. We got Top Gun 2 coming out, Maverick.
Yeah.
That is a film that's 30 years later, basically. And what do you,
now 35
years later, right? That's coming. Yeah, they're talking about doing another Lethal Weapon. That's not a direct sequel because it's going to be the 5th installment, but my point is these films, even with Bad Boys, which is not a direct sequel, it was the 3rd installment, but Bad Boys, even that, these films are for the original fans that saw the original films.
Yeah.
Because they're more for them than anybody. And if you think otherwise, you're fooling yourself. You're lying to yourself. These films, Eddie Murphy made Coming to America because, and he said that. He said in every interview, almost every interview he's done, he never intended this film to be a sequel, to have a sequel to this film. It was a one-off film. He was like, he never intended it to be a sequel. And that's fine. And it didn't need a sequel, but he did it for the fans. That's why he did it.
Same thing Tom Cruise said. He said, I'm never doing a sequel to Top Gun, but so many of his fans kept saying, we want to know what happened to Maverick. We want to know what happened to Maverick.
Yeah.
So he did
what happened to Maverick. He did the sequel. So guess what? You got to just appreciate it and go with it. And I'm not saying that you have to like a film. You don't have to like anything. But my question is, what is there to not like about it? What do people not like about it so much that they just want to? But I think people are more obsessed with having their opinion heard, and a lot of times they want to write something that's negative because they know a lot of people are going to respond to it and write to.
I just need to talk. I need to say what's on my mind because I'm part of the cancel culture. I got a voice. Now shut up.
Right. Just like Joseph Tanner said it, just roll with it. And that's exactly. Come on, people. Give me a break here. So now about sequels.
Now that question that you asked, now I could do that. I could probably. I know.
Like I said at the top.
But can you guys out there do it?
Exactly. Can you guys do it? That's not a question for Ralph. That's not a question for me. I could come with 10 sequels that, at least in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, was better than its predecessor. Jay was just in the chat room earlier running a few off. You know what I mean? He said Dark Knight. He said, Back to the Future 2 is still arguable to me because some people still love the original. But that's arguable. But it's a lot of people like it. But definitively, Dark Knight, of course. Empire Strikes Back.
Godfather 2.
Godfather 2. A lot of people.
I think those are the only 3 movies that there just isn't a question about. It's like, yeah, and maybe The Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan is definitely a direct, and we're talking direct sequels. I really don't want to go past the first sequel, because then you start getting into the trilogy and then all of the other ones after it. Yeah, that's all good, but that gets a little too complicated. I'm talking direct sequels to films. Now, like we just said, there's 4 definitives. That is Godfather Part 2. No, I think it's 5 and T2.
in T2. Godfather Part 2. We'll throw in Terminator 2, Judgment Day. We'll throw in, we said, Empire Strikes Back,
right.
The Wrath of Khan, and what was the other one we said? Oh, and Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Okay? Clearly, definitively better than the predecessor, right? Godfather 2, someone texted me earlier when I said that, and they was like, that's arguable, Wes. I got you.
I don't
Wait,
know.
no, let me tell you, as remember, Godfather is my favorite film ever. And the Godfather series is one of my favorite series ever. Now, I get what they're saying with it. The reason why what made the film better is it expanded on, this is what makes sequels better. What makes sequels better? What would make a sequel? What are the elements that make a sequel better? It expands on the story from the first one, right? It gives you more backstory, more perspective, more clarity on what happened and how we got what we got in the first one. Then it's going to capitalize and give you more of whatever that genre is. So if it's an action film, it's going to give you more action. If it's a, sci-fi film, it's going to give you more things to look at, more things to wow about, right? A lot of times the story, that's what makes it. When people say the story is better, well, that's what makes the story better, because you're getting to see the continuation. You're getting to see how this character that we fell in love with in the first one, how that character evolves. If the character does not evolve in the sequel, it's a terrible sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Sarah Connor.
RoboCop 2. No.
Yeah, RoboCop 2.
No.
Sarah Connor evolved to this in the sequel.
Deep.
Really, really, she had a metamorphosis. But it's a result. So, because it's like this, a sequel, every story is a never-ending story. Every story is a never-ending story, right? Meaning it starts somewhere and it has to end the movie, but the movie ends, but the story doesn't end. It continues. You see what I'm saying? Even beyond the movie realm, right? And whether it's in your minds or whatever. That's why anybody who really studies a film, studies a story, can write a sequel to a film. You know what I'm saying? And whatever, based on whatever. So right? So we have the main character from the first film who makes their transition or makes their evolution. Sarah Connor, all of the ones that we mentioned. Batman, Bruce Wayne from he made a transition to this in the second film. He evolved. Luke Skywalker evolved immensely into this from the second film. We talk, Spock and all of them. They what's his name, Kirk. They all made those changes. That's what made these sequels great, right? Now, Back to the Future 2. A lot of people say that. As to me, that's arguable. I don't think it's definitive. I think it's arguable. It definitely had those elements that we mentioned, though.
Yes, it does. But I think for me,
it has more action. It has. Go ahead.
I think for me, it doesn't, story-wise, it doesn't hold up to the first one. However, I think,
but it does continue the story.
It does continue the story, but I think technically, the idea of you going forward in time, then going back in time, and possibly you got to go further back in time, and trying to keep those story and trying to keep all this stuff in your head and what's going on. I think that's an achievement, but the story just didn't hold up too tough for me. It's a good movie, but it's not the first one. I'm not even going to talk about it. And even the third one is not as big a letdown from number 2, but it's a big letdown from the first.
Oh, and we forgot. Now we're gonna have to add a sixth one to that list, Ralph. Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah.
It was
Spider-Man
clearly
2, man,
better,
better than the
predecessor.
And
like I said, we're already at 6.
The Maguire one.
Yeah, the Maguire ones we're talking about. Yeah, the Maguire films.
Garfield,
we're talking about the Maguire films.
Maguire.
Yeah. So out of the Maguire films, Spider-Man 2, and we talked about this before. Spider-Man 2 to me, holds up against all the other films that was ever made about Spider-Man. It's not the best of all of them, but it holds up against them as well, in my opinion. But it definitely was better than its predecessor, right? If you get a lot, you may find it a lot in the comic book movies, because Captain America: The Winter Soldier was definitely better than Captain America: The First Avenger. That's for sure. So that's another one, so you may find it a little more, but somebody told me that, I said, I that's too arguable for me. Someone texted me and said Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's too arguable though, man. Aliens was, to me, it is better. But I've had there's too many people there's so many moments in Alien that people are just like, nah, man, Alien. Alien.
This is my take on this, because I do like Aliens better than Alien, because realistically speaking, Alien is a straight up horror movie.
It's a horror movie.
It's our worst fear, where you're with a crew and one by one you're getting picked off, and now you're the only one left in some place that's dank and dark. But at least you got a weapon. But even still, you got a killer that you just know you can't beat. Yeah. Now, Aliens is a straight up action movie. It's an action movie with scary elements, but it is an action movie where now it evolves a story where now she goes back and now she got the ability to beat the aliens. When before she didn't know what she was doing. Now she knows what she's doing. But I think because, and plus you can have a more emotional center with the little girl, with the little girl. That's the part that wrapped me in. Like she's willing to have herself die over this little girl that's not her kid, that she basically just met that morning. But yeah, she's willing to die to take her life to save the girl. And I like Bishop, Hudson, Hicks, Vasquez. Vasquez was a star of this shit. She was a tough woman. So I understand why people would say not Aliens over Alien, because Alien is very classic. It is classic, but Alien it's like, this is Alien and this is Aliens. It's like right about
right there. It's like 1 and 1A.
Yeah, it's not like a real big drop in between. It's like almost neck and neck. It's how I would say Superman, the movie, and Superman 2. They're about right there. It's not like Superman 3, which is way down here. They're about right there, because it's expanding the story not only of Clark Kent and Superman and Lois Lane, where the first one is all about Superman
2, right? Yeah,
right.
Superman 2 brings that. That's another one for me. It's on my list because it brings more perspective. It expands on the first story. It gives you more, more background on, because remember the first one you just had the beginning part with Jor-El and stuff on Krypton, and now but it tied in, so that could also be on the list. It gave Superman it's arguable. It gave Superman someone else superpowered to fight, which was more interesting, which provided more action.
Now he's got an equal, and it's 3 equals he's got to deal with. So how do you beat yourself? How do you beat yourself?
And he had even a bigger obstacle to face, because he gave up his powers. And the moment he gave up his powers, now he realizes these guys have made it to Earth, and he has to go back and try to get his powers. So that was another thing. And then you actually got a chance to see Clark Kent get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And even him, I thought that scene was so deep when he's like, oh my God, my blood. I can't believe it. My blood. He'd never seen blood before. He's never seen his blood. You know what I'm saying? So now that he was a regular dude, he gets beat up and then he sees his blood. So Superman 2 is definitely arguable, but for me, it would be on my list. It's definitely arguable because some people just won't give up that first one. They're just like, nah, man.
It's really tough to give up the origin story. It's like if you just like you mentioned Batman, and we're talking Batman and then Batman Returns, right? Clearly, Batman is the better movie, so that's kind of like a no-brainer. But then you got the Dark Knight going up against Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I mean, so I gotta give you everything you got in Batman Begins and something more. So something more with the Joker element that adds a whole nother element to it.
Whole other element to it, and the story. You got to see the character evolve. All the elements that we said makes a great sequel. But here was the real question, Ralph. Are sequels actually meant to be better than the first? Do you think?
They I'm sorry.
Are they meant to be better than the first?
They are.
Should they be better than the first?
Yes. They should be better in the first. Whether it's something about the sequel has got to be better for, whether it's the storyline, the special effects, something has got to be better than that first one. Because if it's not, then all you're doing is rehashing what you already did. It's like listen, I don't like.
What I mean by should it be better, meaning like, but is it better? Maybe it's not better if it doesn't have those elements we talked about. If it doesn't take the story to the next plateau, if it doesn't take it to the next level, then it's impossible for it to be better. Is that agreeable?
I agree. It's okay. You have to deepen the character, at least the main character, because don't get around. You have the original movie, and something may happen to the main character. So now you're making a sequel with like someone that was the marginal character, for example. Right. If you making a sequel to it, then you got to push that marginal character to the front, and now they have to carry that movie.
Right.
It's like I was about to say, I didn't like the original Tron. I did not like it because I really didn't like it because I didn't like any of the special effects in it. Now you get Tron Legacy comes in here, right?
Direct sequel.
Right, direct sequel. Jeff Bridges, even though he's listed first, it's not his movie. It's his kid's movie. The kid has got to step up because we don't know at what point Jeff Bridges come into this thing. So he has to carry it. They redid the special effects, and now what they did is that in the original Tron, Flint gets sucked into the world, right? But the world isn't developed. So now, 28 years later, you come back. Now the world has been fully developed. He's now an outcast, and now he's being hunted. His son is coming, and now the mission is, because the son didn't believe it, now the mission is to save his dad, and one of the isotopes is in the movie. You have to save the isotope to get her to safety from the guy that's the direct clone of who his dad was, that's been on destroying everything and bringing the Tron world to real life, right? But if they would have made the sequel, they would have made a sequel with the exact same special effects they did in 1982, it would have sucked. The special effects is what caught me. Like, oh damn, it's not like, it's not hurting my eyes. It's like, whoa. But the story was good, and it expanded the character and it expanded the world. You got to do those kind of things. Like I said, joking. RoboCop 2. I love RoboCop. RoboCop is a classic movie. Yeah. RoboCop 2 came in, and it just sucked all of the in that too. It sucked all of the fun that was in the first one. It was gone. There was nothing original about it. It didn't expand. So they expanded. Okay, we're going to have a RoboCop 2. But we're trying to get rid of Murphy. Why you want to get rid of Murphy? Without him, there is no RoboCop. Expand his story. They started doing that when they brought up the thing with his wife. Because you see how that, like, now she discovers that her husband is not dead. He's been transformed, so to speak. You should have expanded that part. Less of having a RoboCop 2 and expanding his role in the cleaning up of Detroit against OCP. That would have been the story.
They didn't expand it. Yeah, they didn't expand it. So that's what I'm saying. So if it doesn't do that, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna work where it's supposed to be. It's not gonna work. So so all right. So it's fair to say, and I think we could do a whole show on sequels. Maybe we can kind of mix that in with sequels and remakes. Remakes is a whole nother story. Reboots, those shouldn't exist, because that one's gonna be a hard list to find 10 reboots that actually was better, or even forget better, if it even stood up.
Right. Now I know some people say, well, isn't Batman Begins a reboot of Batman? I'm going to sit there, and for you guys there, I'm going to sit there and say, yeah, it is. So you can have Batman Begins,
If you
but
want to
then
say
again,
Batman Begins on there.
right, but on the flip side, then you can't say it's a movie because in Batman,
No,
he
was already Batman. He's already been Batman. Yeah, it doesn't talk.
Batman.
It's not an origin story.
He's new. He's new on the scene, but he's been
new
around.
to us, but he's been around.
I mean, in the original Batman with Michael Keaton, he's kind of sort of new on the scene.
Right.
Nobody really knows nothing. But in Batman Begins, he's not even Batman. He's strictly Bruce Wayne and becomes Batman.
Becomes Batman, exactly.
That's the difference.
So
it
that's
is,
not really a retell. It's a retelling. It's not really a reboot because it's telling a different story.
Right.
It's telling his origin story.
Right. Now, RoboCop is a reboot. That is a straight up reboot. It's exactly the same thing with the original one. The new one with Joe Egerton is exactly the same one as with Peter Weller. That is a reboot. So so before point of order. So before you guys out there start sitting there saying this is a reboot, this is a remake, please know the difference between a reboot and a remake.
Yes.
Right. Reboot is Batman Begins over Batman. That is a reboot. A remake is RoboCop from 87 and RoboCop from 2013-14. Right. That is a remake.
Yeah.
Two different things. Know what a reboot and remake is.
Right. No, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go even further to say that Batman Begins is a retelling. It's a reboot, but it's definitely a reboot because it's rebooting the franchise because the regular Batman one, all of those other sequels were direct sequels to that first Batman movie, even though they had different actors, but it was still direct sequels to the movies. They kept them moving, right? It was in that same world. It was in the same world, right? Or universe. It was that same universe because they even mentioned, I think they might have mentioned Vicky Vale in one of the other movies, like the third movie or the fourth movie. So it's in that same universe. Right. So it is a reboot because it's a completely different universe.
Right. Same thing with Star Trek. Even though they're the same characters, Star Trek with William Shatner is vastly different than the one with Chris Pine. That is a reboot.
Yeah.
It's not a remake. They now you may say, well, Ralph, what about Into Darkness compared to Wrath of Khan? Is that a reboot or a remake? It's neither because they're not doing the story that they did from Khan. They're bringing the Khan character in there, but it's not the story that you originally heard or saw.
So that's kind of like a
reimagining. That's a reimagining.
Reimagining of it, yeah. So that's perfect for the show. We're gonna have to break down, everybody, what is a remake, what is a reboot, and what is a reimaging of something, because you have those type of things. Because I think you could probably kind of say that about, well, Footloose is probably just a
remake. That's a remake.
That's a remake. It didn't change any of the story, really.
Nah. Footloose, Fame, because Fame has been on cable. They're remakes, The reboot, like I said, Star Trek. Now,
if it's a reboot, it has to be somewhat of a different telling. It's maybe different setting. That's a reboot. You know what I'm saying? In a way, a remake, like you said, is more of pretty much the exact same story. Like the Psycho was a remake. Psycho. It was actually a shot for shot. It was a shot for shot remake,
and it sucks.
It
sucks.
Yeah,
I'm saying the word for that Psycho remake saying suck. That's an understatement. I don't know if there's really a word to describe no.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so let's move on.
I mean, I have a few other movies that I would put in there as a decent that may be improved. We already said 6. I'm also going to throw in there The Road Warrior over the original Mad Max.
Over the original Mad Max.
Yeah, I'm putting The Road Warrior. right? Certainly, I think Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story, but really Toy Story 3 is the real one. But once again, it's not a direct, sequel. It's the second one, not the third or fourth one, because that'd be the same case for the Harry Potter movies. As they got into his years, they got significantly better. Certainly X-Men 2.
X-Men 2, X-Men United, X2. Yes, that was a better film than X-Men.
Yes,
I
can say that.
I'll definitely say that.
Now I'm going to say this one, and I think it includes. I'm going to say Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle with The Rock. It's significantly better than the first Jumanji, and I think because the second one is just because it is a direct sequel. It is not a reboot. It is a sequel.
No, it's a direct sequel.
But it's more fun than the original Jumanji. I mean, I had a ball.
Okay. Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah, is that the first one?
That's the first one with The Rock.
That was the first reboot.
But that's the thing. It's not a sequel. It's a sequel.
Right. It's a sequel. It's a sequel because that's true. It is a direct sequel from the first Jumanji.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. It is a direct sequel.
So I'm going to put that.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
I'm going to also throw in there with like a little trepidation John Wick 2. A little bit. I will, because I think this is better than the first one. Hellraiser 2. I would go with Hellraiser 2 over Hellraiser.
That's arguable for me.
That's an arguable one, but I like Hellraiser.
That's arguable for me because Hellraiser
was man. But and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I like Hellraiser 2. Right? It expands the story, but that one scene when the mute girl opens the box and the Cenobites come out and Pinhead says wait, and you see the wall opening and he comes out with the light behind it. He's like no, it was like damn man, like really?
Yeah, that was. Hellraiser though, I think I'm gonna go with the first one because that was just
arguable, though. It's arguable
when they went, the whole getting Frank and bringing him back.
Right,
Jesus wept.
And I would say this like debatable. I'm saying Saw 2. You can debate that against the first Saw. I think the first Saw is a classic. It messes you up at the end. You're like, really?
Yeah,
he's been alive. But then he expanded, and now you're dragging other people into this thing that he's been doing this to other folks.
Another arguable ones my brother was talking about. He said Friday the 13th Part 2.
Nah, no.
And to me, I think Part 1 was better.
Yeah, and no.
Part 3 was great.
Yes,
it was 3D.
I like Part 4, but I like
Part 3. To me, my favorite out of all of them is Part 3, the 3D one.
No, mine's is the one where
that was the first time you saw Jason's face.
But mine's
his face out the hockey mask.
I think mine's is always going to be when he comes to Manhattan. Just the fact that he's in Midtown New York City.
Oh my god!
And homeboy is like, "Hold up, let's fight!" Bam! He's like,
"Oh my god!" But that was the funniest thing because that is the most truest depiction that would ever happen.
Yeah.
You try to that's what should have happened to Busta Rhymes when he fought Michael Myers.
Yep.
Michael Myers, he trying to do karate kicks to Michael Myers. Michael Myers should have caught that dude and broke his leg in half and then beat him to death with that leg. That's what he should have did.
That's what should happen.
Jason was sitting there. This dude was boxing Jason. Jason takes one punch and literally knocks his head off.
Right. I mean, to me, once again, sometimes that when it's just fun, it's like, oh wow. And my last one that is strictly fun, I really like the movie Happy Death Day. I really did, but I really like Happy Death Day to You. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool one. It's different with horror movies. Also, now remember, even though at first the sequel to Halloween was Halloween 2, but then they remember when John Carpenter came back and just did the one called Halloween. It was just called Halloween. That was allegedly a direct sequel to the first one. It wasn't better than the first one, but I'm just saying that was a direct sequel. Now, Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, was actually really good in my opinion. I thought it was very scary.
But it's not.
It's not better than the first one.
No.
But I thought it was very scary because number one, it took place in a hospital. Yeah. And that shit is scary, dude. If you ever spend time in a hospital when it's late, after visiting hours and it's late and they go into skeleton crew, it is freaking scary, dude. And I've spent the night overnight in hospitals several times with my asthma, and I'm gonna tell you, dude, when I saw that, I was like, yo, this is scary. Because all I thought about is like, yo, really, someone can be walking around here killing people.
And nobody would know it.
No one would know. No one would know. So that's what made it scary for me.
Now here's the interesting question with that one, right? Because now they want to retcon, like all when they reboot something, they want to retcon all the other ones. So does the remake of the newest Halloween could you really sit there and say that that's the actual sequel to the original Halloween? Because if you're going to go with that terminology, the new one that Jamie Lee Curtis did, where now
that is a direct sequel,
right? So now, if you're going to say that's the direct sequel, now you're going to say, was that Halloween better than the original one? That my question is yes. I think that new Halloween is just a touch bit better than the original Halloween.
Nah, it's not. Not in my opinion. It's not, because it's not. The reason why I think it's just because it's been so many years. It's not as scary. It's not as scary because it was new. You know, it was new back then, right? Michael Myers and it was just It's not as scary.
But now, here's where the debate comes. If what you just said, because it's not scary in so many years, you could sit there and say the same thing for Alien to Aliens and Terminator to Terminator 2, where you have a block of time in between it, right? But the main character, Alien, she's totally different than she was in Aliens. And same with Sarah. Sarah Connor, only is she different, she's physically different, right?
Right, it's that type of evolution. Now, granted, it is a great sequel because of the evolution that she's made. The only reason why, like for instance, and which once again is why, you didn't get a chance to see that in the original Halloween 2, right? Because it was the same night. It took place the same night. It was continuing the same night, so she really didn't get a chance to evolve into anything.
Whereas T2 and Aliens, they've had. I mean, Aliens is 57 years later, and T2 is like almost a decade later. Right. Where in them time stamp that they've evolved, but both of them have been through more Sarah Connor than Ripley, but they have been through something. And now I'm saying the same thing for Laurie Strode. She's really been through some stuff. She's had a child, and she's shunned by her family. She has all this emotional baggage over a night that she is never going to shake. And this dude is still alive, tormenting her while not tormenting her.
Yeah. No, I know, but I can't say it's better than the original. Because the reason why is because it's a horror film. It may have the makings of what could be better, but to me, it's a horror film, and if it's not scarier, then it ain't better, in my opinion. It's not scarier than the first one. The first one was terrifying.
That's true,
but I think it was missing. I think the Loomis character was really cool to have in there because he was that character, who kind of felt like it was kind of his fault. He's kind of run out there, and he has that, that rapport with Michael, kind of, not really a rapport, but Michael would have killed his ass too. But here's
the thing, right? You're sitting there, and I'm sitting. We're both going to say it's not scary like the original. But once again, now we're dealing with these millennials who their shock value is lessened than what ours was. Like, because now they're exposed to all this stuff. So now to them, looking back at Halloween Jaws, and it was like, oh man, that's no big deal. But to them, this modern one is like, oh crap, it's scary. So like, I mean, come on, they were scared by Paranormal Activity, you know, and it's really not scary, but they were terrified of it, right? So that's that's what I'm saying. I think there's a debate with these two particular movies. I agree. We like the original because the original strikes us to the core when we were kids when this thing came out, and it freaked the hell out of us.
Yeah.
But now the kids today, like nothing really shocks them anymore. Not to that level.
But I definitely want to agree with you. The part that I do agree with you with is, I definitely think it was a more than formidable sequel. It was a very good sequel. I personally don't think it was better than the original, but I mean better than the first installment. But I do think it was really, really good. Unfortunately, here's another thing. The sequel. Does a sequel need to stand on its own? I think it should. Meaning, you should always have seen the first one. But if you came in on The Wrath of Khan, you didn't necessarily have to see the first one to like The Wrath of Khan.
You didn't even have to see the TV show.
Right. If you came in on Dark Knight, if Dark Knight was the first film that you saw in that installment, you didn't have to. You should see the first one. But it kind of stands on its own, even though it's a direct sequel. Would you agree that that's an extra element?
Yes.
That makes the sequel the better film.
I agree. If you can do a sequel that I don't have to see, like I don't need to see Batman Begins to get into the Dark Knight. You know? I just don't. You just can walk because it like
you don't.
I don't. Right. Yeah. I don't have to see Endgame without seeing Avengers. I could walk right into it and be caught up in.
Right.
Now I can't go.
Same thing with the Winter Soldier, in my opinion.
Right. I can't go see Return of the King without seeing the Fellowship of the Ring. You can't. You can't do it. You know.
Yeah.
Not just to say Return of the King is one of the best sequels ever made. It really is. But if you walked into it and never saw the first two, you would be like, "What the hell is going on?" You know? Who are the hobbits? What's the deal with the ring?
What's going on? Yeah, that's a full.
They ain't never heard of a car.
That's a story that was made to be told as an epic, as a trilogy, as an epic, right? Same thing with the Matrix, stuff. Those movies were made to kind of bounce off of the original story, right? You can't watch the Matrix 2 and really be knowing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You can be like, "What the hell is this Neo guy? What the hell is this guy? What is all of this?" You know, like,
what is the Matrix?
Yeah. What is the Matrix? Yeah. What the hell is the Matrix?
So you didn't see the first one, like.
So
you could
that also makes
John
a good
Wick.
sequel.
Yeah. You could probably walk into John Wick 2 because and even with that one, even if something that you had seen, what I liked about John Wick is that you got a little recap in the beginning of the movie as to why he's in this predicament right now.
And that's what let's go back, bringing us back to Coming to America. That's what Eddie did too. Eddie, I think they clearly put us in a position to understand what's going on because they realize that it's been 30 years and some people may not have rewatched the film. And the new people may not even have seen the film.
Right.
So they recapped you on the film.
Right.
You know what I mean? They even told you the story of how it happened. They even showed some scenes. They kind of recapped you on the film.
Right. And see that's one reason like Blade Runner 2 like I just said that Blade Runner was too damn long. Blade Runner, if they would have did a straight up sequel to Blade Runner, there would have been no need and didn't have Harrison Ford in it. There wouldn't have been no need to watch the original. But once they brought Harrison Ford back into it, they're re-bringing in the storyline from the first one. So now you're like, well, why is he going after this guy? And what's the deal with this chick in the piece of wood? Now you're lost. So now you're forced to go back. You're forced to go back to
What
see Blade Runner.
what about this one? Here's one that we didn't mention. Kind of stands on. No, you can't because the way it began. Well, no, the way it began. And recap it. Rocky 2.
Okay, all right. See, Rocky 2. Now, honestly, you don't need to see Rocky 2 because it opens up with Rocky going to the hospital. So you right there, you picturing Rocky got into a boxing match, and but the only thing that when the first one, you don't know if he won or lost. But then, like 2 minutes into the movie, well, 4 minutes is when after the movie music goes off, you find out because Mickey says, "I don't care what anyone said. This is the guy that won the match." But you figure that he lost. Yeah. So and then the whole story tells and it said Apollo said the first time I took it too light, but I gave him a shot and I want to give him another shot. So you don't really need to see Rocky now. If your question is how did he hook up? How did he hook up with Adrian? How did he hook up with Mickey? Now those questions you may say, is that answered in the first movie? That's a legitimate question. But if I walked into it for the first time, I don't really need to see Rocky.
You don't necessarily need to see Rocky to understand the movie.
Right. And actually all the Rockies, if I'm not mistaken, the sequels give you a recap of the last fight. So you know
the last fight, So you know what's going on. So it actually starts, you're right, Ralph. It actually starts in that last round of the first fight, where they're in the boom, boom, and then there's the count and the slow count and all that stuff that they're going. All of that's in the beginning of Rocky 2. So that last round that happened in Rocky actually starts off Rocky 2. And then they take it up from that point on when they're in the hospital, like immediately after the fight. So that film, really, you don't need to see Rocky. You see? You don't need it. Now you need to see at least Rocky 2 to understand Rocky 3. Because you won't understand with the whole part with Apollo training him and who Apollo Creed is. Like you won't even understand. If that was the first film that you ever saw, you see what I'm saying? It's not really, you know what I mean? They do recap you like the rest of them. They recapped at the end how he beat Apollo and stuff like that. They did recap that. So that helps you. But I think, I think to really truly understand, you have to at least go watch Rocky 2.
Right. Now you don't need to see Rocky 3 to pick up on Rocky 4. You don't need to see it, but you do need to see Rocky 4 to see Rocky 5.
To see any of them after that, you have to. But you have to understand. Right. But I mean, honestly, by the time you get that deep into it, honestly, you really should have seen the first ones. Right. You should have just seen them all because you have to understand, you wonder like, oh, okay, why is he so, who is this Apollo guy? Why is he fighting in Revenge or Russia? Well, you have to, him and Apollo got really close in Rocky 3. You know what I'm saying? They got really close and they have a history together. Like, and it's so, I don't want to get on Rocky, but I'm just saying it's so realistic in my opinion because, a lot of these fighters that has epic fights with each other become very close. They become very close in real life. A lot of these fighters that, they might be mortal enemies while they were fighting, but later when they get older and they retire and they become very good friends. They become close.
Come on, Ali and Foreman and Ali and Frazier and all them guys who he used to pick on became friends because they understand that it's in the midst of battle. We're all
it's the part of the business. Part of the
business. Michael Jordan on that basketball court will eat you alive. Eat you alive. But get him off the court. He's like, yo, you want to go play some cards? You want to shoot some golf?
Shoot. Yeah, go play golf. You want some dinner? And he's buying. Michael Jordan, your money's no good with Michael Jordan. Yeah. Every time anybody will tell you, anytime you go out with Michael Jordan, he's paying. And then he's going to bust your behind on the court the next night. You know what I'm saying? And act like y'all might even be fist fighting on the court the next night because it's a whole nother story when you on the court. So yeah, I mean, I get it. But anyhow, let's run down this list real quick before we end the show. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to our top 5 movies that made you cry or made us cry, we'll say. I could probably do a top 20, but
I'm working on a top. I got a top 30. I'm going to put on my. And I guess here goes shameless plug number 3. I actually have a movie blog that I've been letting sit for a while.
Oh, okay.
And I just started writing it, but this idea got me. I'm starting to redo it. I'm writing this article. It's called "The Top 30 Times a Movie Made Me Cry." Right, and you're going to be surprised because I'm gonna tell you my top 5 in a few minutes. But when you see the rest of it, you're like, "Wow, I never thought about that." So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna try to get it done. Like by the end of this week, I'm gonna have it up. I was gonna work some more. I worked on a little bit this weekend, but it's 30 movies, and trying to explain what the scene is. It's taking a little bit of time. But yeah, I'm getting my movie blog going back up again because I think it's about time. I've been letting too much stuff slip, and that's my fault.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I'm right now trying to formulate a blog that I want to start writing called like I do sometimes I jump up and do a segment of this or an extension of this show that I call the Director's Cut. I'm gonna probably do a blog called the Director's Cut and kind of do like a talk about movies and review or whatever. But and I'm currently in my I'm currently doing my MFA in creative writing, and the class that I'm actually in, ironically, is script analysis and criticism. That's the class that I'm in right now, and that's basically what this class is. It's telling you how to make money, criticizing films. But anyway, let's go. So for top 5, okay, number 5 for me, top 5 films that made me cry. It's funny because I gotta go through a few of them because I got so many. Unfortunately, I'm a crier. I said I got a few.
Do you need some tissue?
Yeah, right. I need some tissue. I'm going to say, okay, number 5 for me is going to be The Champ. Okay, I'm gonna say The Champ. That film had made me cry. It's funny because I was on my longer list further down, not near the top 5. We talked about Rocky. I was going to put the part where Mickey dies in Rocky 3. I think that was pretty sad, but it's not in my top 5. Number 4 for me is, I'm trying to formulate which was more of a crying moment for me. Yeah, number 4, I'm going to say it's an old animated film called Charlotte's Web.
Oh,
Charlotte's Web,
man.
Charlotte's Web.
That messed me up as a kid, man.
That messed me up as a kid, man. Charlotte's Web. All right. Number 3. Okay. I'm going to go with, you know what else? This was a very sad too. I don't know if this is going to be my number 3. But it's definitely in my top 10. But I'm going to go with number 3. It's funny because I had all these things written down, but I had them typed up, right, in my freaking paper. I didn't save it. In my computer, we had a power surge here, and my computer went out.
Oh, damn.
My list went with that power surge, but I could pretty much recall these people. I think number 3 is gonna have to be Endgame. It's gonna have to be Endgame for me, man. Well, really, the last it's no real one moment. It's the last 15 minutes of Endgame, man. Because everyone's arc, you got to see everyone's arc complete. You got to see Stark who was with you from day 1 of this MCU ride
to the end.
And you got to see his arc complete. You got to see Captain America's arc complete. And it just really really touched you. It really touched me.
But
You
let
know
me
what
ask
I
you a
mean?
question. Let me ask you a question, right? With that one, which part is the sadder? The fact that Tony Stark died, or his service? Which is the part that because to me, I think it's the service that really gets me more than the fact that of him doing the motion thing, that him
Yeah.
sacrificing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at it and I'm looking at like, damn, you got all these people that's in all these other movies here honoring this guy, and I think when the fam said, you are never going in your life, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
this, you never going to like see that kind of talent in a movie again, never. You have, I think you got like 15 people in there that have either won or been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
You know?
That part was really the saddest part for me. Right. It was part of that scene, not the exact funeral part where they showed everyone, but the part where he's talking to his daughter and he says, I love you 3,000.
Yeah.
That part was it. I was done. I'm like, oh man, that was great.
I know. It just like, man, I love you. He says, I love you 3,000, and he fades out.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I'm going to
you, Tony.
say number 2, and this was almost my number 1. Number 2 for me, the final scene in Ghost, when he says, isn't that speech that he says, isn't it amazing, Molly? The love inside, you take it with you. You know what I mean? Like him saying that, and then he says to her, which he never says in the whole movie, that was part of the character. He never said that I love you to her. He never actually said the words. She just knew. He would always say ditto. He would always say ditto. She would be the one to say I love you. And he would say ditto. So and they reversed it at the end where he says, I love you. I always loved you. This and she says ditto. That was, it doesn't help the fact that freaking Demi Moore can cry at the drop of a hat, and she's so good at it.
Yeah,
the tears
really
just stream down. It was really, really emotional scene.
I think,
and
I think for me, when it was over and he called the name and she said Sam, when she heard him, you was like, oh my gosh, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that part where that's it. So number 1 on my top 5, my number 1 film that made me cry. I was also a kid when I saw this. Yeah, the death of Optimus Prime. That's my number 1. See, I'm sorry. The death of Optimus Prime. Probably the dumbest move Hasbro's ever made in their careers. But it was also to me it was one of the saddest moments that I've ever seen. That was very traumatic for me. And when you want to talk about, me and my cousin, shout out to my cousin Anthony. Me and my cousin Anthony went to see this film. We saw it about 4 or 5 times, but the first time we went to see it. You want to talk about traumatizing? A whole theater full of kids crying, bawling, crying. Yeah. Couldn't believe it. I mean, I've had friends, they didn't say it while they was at the theater, but I've had friends that said, yo, I was ready to walk out. Like, I didn't even want to watch the rest of the movie after Optimus Prime died. Which, to me, I would never say that because it was an awesome movie. But, yeah, the death of Optimus Prime, that stuck with me. Because it was so,
It was literally shocking. Like,
it was so bad.
How they did it where you saw his eyes fade and then his head went like this and he turned gray, dark gray.
All
like,
gray.
Oh man, you bitches.
Just like, yeah, that was just, it was just bad, man. Do not grieve, for I am one with the Matrix.
There you go with the Matrix. So like, what do you know? Neo? Does Neo know you? Like, can he bring you back?
Exactly. For I will be one with the Matrix. Yeah. That was good. That's my top 5.
I gotta admit, man, that was rough. I tried to keep the top 5. Because a lot of the top 5 when we cry, it is because of a death, but sometimes it's because of a really good act. So my top 5, my number 5 is Armageddon, when Bruce Willis is saying goodbye to his daughter.
Yes, very, very, very emotional.
Man,
that's in my top 10. It didn't make my top 5, but that's in the top 10.
I mean, he made, not only did he make himself cry, his daughter cry, but he made everybody on that space shuttle cry, and even the people in NASA command cry. Like,
everybody crying.
It was just like, and once again, he made the audience cry. I remember people crying when I saw that in the theater, and I almost got to see with a packed theater. I ain't really one of these guys, like, for a real big blockbuster to see it just by myself. I want to see it with the crowd, because that experience is better. And that might have to be a show too. Like, what was our best times in the theater? Because we have to put that in there. One of the best times.
And before you finish your list, I'm just throwing an honorable mention, which isn't a film. I have to just say it because it was a great moment on television. Was Will Smith with the scene on The Fresh Prince?
Oh man!
When the father leaves him again. When his father walks out on him,
man,
if you can't, I'm sorry, if you cannot watch that scene, if you watch that scene and don't get emotional, and my father, thank God, rest in peace, my father was in my life, so and it had nothing to do with me feeling like deja vu or nothing. It just was so powerful,
man,
so powerful. I had to throw that in there.
When he says, why don't he want me, man? And he hugs Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil throws his hat off.
Yeah,
man.
He dropped those tears. Those tears
was real.
Just dropped, man, and it was so real, man. It was
because that's really Will Smith's life. His dad wasn't around him until he became famous. Then he wanted to creep back in. Nope, no. But man, I didn't even got my top 5. But here's my honorable mention, even though I ain't got the rest of my life 4 through 1, is Penny from Good Times when she says, "No, Mama, don't do that. Don't." You up there burning little Janet Jackson with the iron, and she's got she got her pigtails and her cheeks, and she's like, "No, Mama, no, I'll be good," and you just see the iron coming into the camera, like. You wanted to you wanted to reach through your TV and choke her mother out. That's what you want to do. It's like, you bitch. How you gonna hurt that little girl? How you gonna hurt Penny? Not Janet Jackson, Penny. Then you see the next day she got the big band-aid on her forehead. Man. Man. Rough. But my number 4 movie, a sad moment, is not because it's sad, because it was a death. It was actually something happy. And that's The Color Purple. I originally had down here the moment in the movie where Celie, her kids come back to see her, because that is a happy moment. That's something that makes you cry. But then after I wrote that, The Color Purple came on TNT for Black History Month, and I had to change it because that is not the moment that makes you cry. It's the moment when Suge is out there singing,
and she goes to the church,
and she hears her father's church, and she rolls in here singing, "God's trying to tell you something."
Yeah,
it was because she's belting this song out, right? But originally she's singing something else, and she's hearing it, and she's like, "I just can't do this no more. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in there." And as she's walking, everybody was around her. The instruments followed her, and they kicked in that when she kicks in the door, and the choir look at her, and the choir says, "We're just gonna back you up." And then when she says, "Even see, Daddy, even sinners have soul, have a soul." It's like, man, I'm getting teary-eyed now thinking about it, because that was just rough, Because the entire time, whenever her father saw it, he was like calling us whore, slut, whore. And now, I mean, he's not. I'm not even kidding. He's saying he'll ride a bike by say slut, and come on, you're a minister. You're calling your daughter a slut. But man, that was like, and then he just hugged her. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm done. I can't do this." And then he basically was like, I can't hate you no more. I can't." Because I guess he thought she turned her back to the church. But regardless of all the stuff in there, the church was always around her. That's the crying moment, right?
Yeah. I agree.
My number 3 is Malcolm X. When Malcolm X is assassinated, they did him dirty.
That was sad. Yeah.
Dirty. We all have, at least most of us, had heard of Malcolm X. And we all know that he was assassinated. But it's one thing to hear about it, but then to actually see it recreated. They riddled that man in front of his wife and his kids like he was a dog.
Yeah.
And he knew it was coming. And when the guy says, "Get your hands on my pocket," and he runs up with the shotgun, you see him, he's like this. Because he knew it was over. He knew all this crap was over with. But it proved the point that he was saying that it wasn't the FBI behind this. It was Elijah. He felt it was the nation. He knew it was the nation. He felt it was nation. And now, because he probably knew the guy that shot him. He probably knew all the assassins that was there. But they just did him dirty.
Well, now there's been some new evidence that's been uncovered that supposedly ties in, I think, the FBI or somebody and into his assassination, which doesn't surprise me because I mean, J. Edgar Hoover,
he had tabs on
pretty
everybody.
much ordered. He pretty much ordered everybody's hit. You know what I mean?
I'm sure
from him
JFK,
to from JFK to RFK, MLK.
MLK.
Yeah.
Everybody with a K in there. Had to go.
Yeah.
Had to go.
So,
they tried to get Castro and it failed.
If you watch Judas and the Messiah, Black Messiah, he had something to do with Fred Hampton as well. Yeah, with Black Panthers. So
nothing at least to my knowledge, nothing to do with the KKK. Nothing. Just let them go.
Let them go.
Just let them go.
But these cats are threats.
Yeah.
So that's where you go. So all right, what's the next one?
All right, so my number 2 is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan when Spock dies. Right?
Yeah,
that death is more emotional because people that follow Star Trek, they've been following this since it wasn't the movies, they've been following since the original series. And Spock, even though it was Captain Kirk, Spock was the emotional core of the series. And he was someone that he rejected emotions.
Right.
But he sacrifices himself to save the crew. Yep. That's an emotion. Once again, he sacrifices himself because he knew that once he stepped into that radiation chamber, he was not coming out. He knew it. He knew that it was impossible for him to come out. But he sacrificed himself so that the crew could live. His friends, not the crew, his friends could live.
That was an emotional move. That wasn't logic. It was emotion.
It was all emotional. And then when he realizes when Kirk is there, he can't get out, and he says, "Live long and prosper," and he puts his bloody hand on the glass, right?
Yeah.
And he just slides down. And he passes out, right? And he dies. Man, and I think it hits harder because I have Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan on DVD Blu-ray, and listen to the commentary. The director says, a scene works. He said the crew, when they were filming it, were crying.
We're all crying.
They know he's not. They know he's really not dead, but they know Leonard Nimoy really wasn't dying. But they knew that Spock was dying, that he died. So you got the cameraman, the light guy, the boom guy, all these people crying, and they're not. And from what he said, they're not just like tearing up. Like, no, they're literally crying. So we got to film this again because I'm getting all you guys sound in the background.
Yeah,
that's deep. I don't think there's very many movie characters that I can legitimately think of, maybe 10, that we have seen multiple times in some way, shape, or form, that if that character was to die, it would strike you that hard. I think right now, the only character who would strike you that hard right now is Rocky. If you were to see Rocky die on camera, it would tear up everybody.
It would tear everybody up, even though he's been around all this time.
It would tear you
it
up.
Would tear you up. It would tear because I had all my tears on deck. I was ready. I thought he was gonna die, and I thought he was gonna die in Creed 2. Thought they were gonna kill him when he got sick. I was like, oh no, Rocky. Because now you talk about an era that's just dead, died off.
So I'm kind of sort of thinking that when Creed 3, if there is a Creed 3, that now you are going to kill the Rocky character. So now the question is, do you kill him off camera or on camera? I think you need to do
it on camera. You have to. You have to do it on camera. As much as we as fans don't want to see it, but we deserve to see it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, it's a rob. You feel robbed if it's like what they did with Adrian. You just come back and they killed her off camera. That was
she's
a rob.
Gone. Like and you're sitting there like, yo, what the hell happened?
Because you're thinking like, what the hell happened to Adrian? What's going on?
I mean, Adrian dies off camera. Paulie dies off camera, and you're like, yo, what the hell? So I think you do have to kill him off on camera. And it's going to be where more likely it's going to be where he's training Creed for another fight, and he dies either in his office or he dies in the ring that he's training, where he just falls to his knees and Creed turns around and said, "Rocky," he said, "You okay?" And he just goes. I think you have to have that emotional punch, and I'm saying it now. If that really happens, it's going to be the saddest moment in movie history.
Yeah,
sadder than Tony Stark.
I agree.
Just like you go.
I agree.
It's like you might as well just fade to black, have a pause in the middle of the movie because everybody gonna need to get recomposed. Because it's just gonna strike like, damn, really, right?
So what about your number one?
Well, my number one movie is gonna be kind of surprising because I'm sure that no one would have thought about this, but I got my reason why it's my number one.
Okay.
My number one saddest moment in movie history, for me, is The Last American Virgin. And I know you out there sitting there like, what? I'm gonna tell you why, right? The scene where this guy Gary, he is in love with the character Karen, that's played by friend of the show Diane Franklin.
Friend of the show, Diane Franklin.
In the movie, Diane Franklin's character gets pregnant by her boyfriend at the time, and the boyfriend leaves her. Now, Gary is in love with her from day one. When the movie starts, he's in love with her. So he pays for the abortion. He nurses her back to health. He does all these things as what her band should have did. Her man should have did. He stepped to the plate. So now he's thinking the two of us are going to start going together. That she loves me. He comes to the party that she's at, and he walks in the kitchen. What does he see? What does he see?
Just like women always do.
Yeah, he sees Karen making out with her ex, and then he walks in, and she just looks at him like, "I'm sorry."
She gives him the most pitiful look. Like
what'd you expect,
dude? Poor dummy.
Oh, poor you. And he drives off. He drives off, and this is the thing. He doesn't really cry, but you see the reflection of where he's going. He's just. I don't know if he's just mad, sad, or pissed, or actually, I think he's more confused. But it ends. The music comes up, and the movie just ends. So you don't know what happened that one. But that scene, there are too many of us guys out there that know women that we have liked for whatever, and we know the guy they're dating, and we know the guy's a piece of crap, and we have in some way stepped up and helped that girl out in some kind of way. But in the end, she always goes back to the loser. Always.
And makes you look like the loser.
Makes you look like a chump. Like, yo, dude, No, it's like, yo, dude.
But I get what you're saying with that. But my only objection to I'm not. It's your list, but my only objection to that whole situation is why I didn't feel as bad for him is because I get it, bro. I see what you did. You did all this stuff, but bruh, she never said she was your girlfriend. She never said
asked you to do none of that stuff.
She never asked you to do none of that stuff, and she never said that we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And he sat there and got a whole for her birthday. Oh, I want to get a gift for my girlfriend. It's exactly his words. Now all she did was she didn't even sleep with him. All she did was kiss him. She gave him a kiss. That was like a sympathy kiss. Like she gave him a kiss because it was really like a gratitude. That's what
thank you,
gratitude kiss.
Thank you, kiss. It was like no emotion. It was more like a peck and like pecking out of here.
Yeah.
Like the same kind of kiss you might.
He sat there and remember that was his moment that he sat there and confessed his love to her. Yeah. He confessed it. He said, "I love you. I've always loved you," and this and that, and then she kissed him. She kissed him,
and he went to now she's my girl. Now she's my girl.
But he said, she's my girl." But nah, bro, yeah, So he is not. No, she never said it. But that was a real asshole move by her.
Real
at the end. That was an a-hole move, and I gotta find that episode. We let Diane Franklin have it when we had her when we got on here that time.
That was just wrong.
Because we were like, "You raw for
and
that."
She's
like, "I didn't write it."
She doesn't even like it.
She don't even like it. She's like, "I didn't write it," and she told us a very funny but real story about how she approached the writer of the film and was actually asked him to change the end. And the writer, she didn't tell us what happened. But she said, let's just say I learned at an early age that actors should worry about acting. Don't try to. So she probably got chewed out. She probably got
hate. She probably got hate mail, which I'm sure she did.
No. What I mean is she probably got chewed out by the producers or the writer. Because if she approached the writer and talked about changing the ending, the writer probably complained to the director. The director probably told the producer, and she probably got chewed out.
Yeah, and that's the damn. I mean that, and I'm sure over the years she probably still gets hate mail because of that. But it's just I know, like I said, I know what you guys saying. Like, really, Ralph? But yeah, because that. Listen, I just gave you top 5 list of things. First of all, there's no big asteroid hurtling toward this planet right now that they're going to send a space shuttle up to stop. Right? That's one. Right? I don't know anybody named Suge in this point in time that's going to go out there and reconcile with her dad by singing a song. Right? There's no real leader that if they were to die in real life, you would really feel that broke up. Like, I'm sorry, but if Trump died, would you really feel sad? No.
Some of them would.
Somebody would, but not not that would unify the entire country. The last person in this entire planet that died that everybody felt sad was Princess Diana. That's it. I don't think there's anybody else. Even if you want to say to the Pope, maybe, but Princess Diana.
I'm gonna say Michael Jackson.
Well, everybody was really talking about like a political.
Oh, you're talking like a political person. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I was like Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson's death was like, and Whitney Houston's death.
Yeah, that really rocked. Those rocked it, but those are celebrities. You're talking like political figures.
Because there are still some musicians or entertainers that if they were to pass away right now, it would. Madonna. I'm going to say Clint Eastwood. I'm going to say damn, running to my tongue. Paul McCartney. If people like that were to pass away, it would be like fuck. And they would be Janet Jackson. They would be eulogized. But there's not. At least I can't think of, beyond the Pope, any real political figures where if the person was to be assassinated, not died natural causes, assassinated, that you would really get that broken up about, and that's kind of sad when you really put it in perspective.
Kind of sad when you think about it. Yeah. All right. So
and like I said, and no, there really isn't a Starship Enterprise where someone's going to sacrifice himself for the crew. That's not happening. But that part where us as guys, and
we've been through it,
and you girls,
very chances are that you've been through it. Yeah.
And the same with you women. I'm sure there's some dude out there that you know is dating a woman that is inferior, as a piece of crap, and you have tried to help this guy out, show him the right way that the girl's gonna take you down, and maybe they broke up and you came in there and y'all might have had sex, or he might stepped up with your kid and stepped to the role of father or mentor, but somehow that same bitch worked herself back into her heart, and you stand there looking like, really, guy, this, really?
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's. I could get it. I could dig it. I just was more angry than I felt bad for him. I didn't cry. I was just really angry. Like, this chick. And I ain't gonna lie, I said this bitch. That's exactly what I said. I was like, and every time we're gonna have Diane Franklin on again soon because I want to get her on for something else. But every time she comes on, we always
gotta rag her about that. And Wes, I agree with you. When I first saw it, I think I was like not really understanding because I was still kind of young. I mean, when it came out, I was like teenagers. But over the years, now that I've grown and actually lived and experienced life, now it hits me differently now.
Yeah, it hits you
seeing it because have I ever been in that scenario where you did do something for a girl, where you went out of your way and you're thinking it's one thing, but she's like, ha, no, it's not. Yes, I have. And I think most guys have at least
most guys have had once. If put like this, if you are a guy and you're over 35 or maybe over 30 even, you've ran into that moment. Maybe when you was younger, maybe you was in your 20s or teenager. I've been through it. I've had that girl that I did everything for, and then she ended up, dissing me. And it's ironic that one of the girls that actually went through with that now
want to come back.
Yeah, it's funny. She hits me up all the time because it's like,
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
She don't even say I'm sorry. She's just like, I don't know. For some reason, I'm just speculating. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she's always hitting me up for money.
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what it is, and I have always said this when it comes to guys and girls, and I know some of you women are going to watch this and says, Ralph, how you don't know what I'm talking about, but believe me, I really do. You women, when you're young, you pick style over substance. And let me explain what that means. When you're young, you're 18 to 25 age, right? Some of you will have two guys. You have the one guy that's the bookworm, the go-getter, the guy that got the real job. And then you have the guy that's got the baby hair, the tattoo, the muscles, the motorcycle. And you'll pick that guy because he's the bad boy. He's the flashy guy, not the guy that gets up every day and go to work, right? But then when you're about 30, 35 years old, you had your heart broken a couple of times, you may have a couple of kids. Now that's when you start saying, I want a real man. And you want the guy that is dependable, that does go to work, that's providing for his kids. That's the guy you want to. You know why? Because you've been ran through a couple of times. and I hate to say it. I really, believe me, I really hate to say it that way. And I know some of you ladies out there probably say, well, that's not me. It may not be you, but I bet you know somebody in your clique, your crew, your neighborhood, your block, or someone in your neighborhood, crew, or block that has a girl that's been through the same crap. Somebody you work with.
Everybody's been through it at some point, I think. If you lived a certain amount of years, you've been through that situation that happened with Gary in The Last American Virgin.
Yep.
The only thing was my thing was more or less like I never thought the girl that I was talking about, I never thought she was my girlfriend. I was trying to make her my girlfriend, and a couple of them might have led you on, whatever, and then it comes out to be something else than you think it is. Or, she ends up hitting one of your mans, or whatever the case may be. If it's a guy you know or you don't know, it happens. So, that's all relatable and stuff. Well, I should, next time it's always easy. It's kind of easy to get Diane Franklin because she's such a good sport. She's such a good person. I'm gonna try to get the other dude who played Gary. That should be funny.
Yeah,
that should be fun. Let's try to get
like. What does he think now? Now that it's like 30 plus years since it came out, do you know? Should the ending? I mean, it's a good question. Should the ending stay the was, or should we Lucasize it and change it? Because of cancel culture. Should we go back and change that ending, or like say, well, you know what? There was this footage that we shot, we just never added, like. Because maybe they did.
If you go by cancel culture, they'll tell you to take out the whole part about abortion.
Yeah. Yes, they would.
That whole part about abortion be out. If it was first of all, that film would never survive in this time in the cancel culture era, because there was so much. Any of those films from that era, that Porky's, stuff like that, those films would never survive in the cancel culture era.
Certainly, Porky's would not work.
Never.
Porky's risky business.
None of them would. Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds,
losing it.
The Last American Virgin,
Karate Kid,
Private School,
no,
it's called Private. Private Lessons. That's what the other one.
Yeah.
That was the one where she was like basically like a teacher, and she was having sex with the young kid. No, she wasn't a teacher. She was his babysitter or something like that.
Yeah, my tutor she was the tutor. Class where Andrew McCarthy was sleeping with his classmate's mom. No, Mannequin.
Oh,
nope.
Mannequin. Even what you call it too?
St. Elmo's Fire.
Loverboy. Probably wouldn't work either.
Definitely.
Patrick Dempsey, Loverboy. When he's sleeping with all of those women.
Yeah.
Pizza with
Can't
extra
buy me
anchovies.
love. Can't buy me love. Nope. All the 16 candles.
He said, I want to rent you. Yeah, that part right there. Now, granted, Can't Buy Me Love was re-imaged with Love Don't Cost a Thing. And that was not in the cancel culture though. But yeah.
But now it would be in the cancel culture.
It would be now, yeah. They put in the cancel. They be saying cancel Patrick Dempsey because he's like, I want to rent you. It basically says
you want to rent me.
You want to rent me? Yeah, I pay you to go out with me, and that's gonna make me popular.
Yeah, I mean, I love Adventures of Babysitting, but that would be part of that culture too. It's like gosh, she's so irresponsible. Like, no.
Oh, another one would be Weird Science.
Yep.
Weird Science would be in the cancel. They made a girl. They made a woman. And she's this. Is she gonna be voluptuous? Is she gonna be this? Oh, it's so sexist.
Yeah,
that film is so sexist.
How can they making a guy? Why did you gonna make a girl?
They gotta make a girl. Why is it? Yeah, and it's the testosterone in it.
All those 80 comedies that we see back now,
they would never work now. They would never work now. Never. Because it by the time, and that's what Eddie Murphy thought about that when he made Coming to America. If you think about it, he dumbed it down. When he made Coming to America, he dumbed it down because you had to come into America. In the first one, you had nudity, in it. You know what I'm saying? That the royal penis is clean, right? Yeah. But the guy they did have a little callback to it with the guy. He said the royal privates is clean. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. Which they're more. It's more. They.
And now that I'm thinking about it, 48
alluded to it.
They would want to take out the part of 48 hours. Remember when he ran into Olivia Brown? He said I got rent money for the night. He said I'm just trying to get some trim. She's like some trim, some gumbo, some sex. She's like you ain't even got enough money to pay for the room. That whole sequence would have got.
They take that out. He's like, look, I've been in jail. You know what I mean? I just got out of jail. I got a few more. Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, anyway. So anyway, that's it. We're gonna end the show, but that's pretty funny, man. Next week we're going.
Thank you, Maddie. You're right. Facts.
Yeah,
facts.
yeah. Thanks, Maddie. She said facts. She know. That's real shit right there, man. We crazy with that. That stuff is real. It would never work now. Any of those films. So that's why they never. They're not going to reboot those films. And if they do, it's just going to be stupid. They're going to turn into a comedy. Well, those were comedies, but those comedies were raunchy. That was back before PG-13 even existed.
Yep.
It was either PG or R. That was
remember
it.
Remember that one movie? They said it was the worst at the time. They said like it's so bad. This movie called Night School.
I remember Night School.
Not Night School. Night Patrol.
No, Night Patrol. Okay, Night Patrol.
Remember the beginning with a girl where they going? She's like, it was a sperm bank, and he's like, "Where's your donation?" She was like, "Oh," and she was gargling with it, and they let her into the sperm bank. That joke. Oh my god. That joke would get the theater burned down today.
Yeah. What about like in Porky's when he puts his penis through the hole? He's like, "Hey, and they're like, yo, what the hell?" And the girl, the old ugly gym teacher grabs it.
Nurse Brickbot. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm gonna tell you this. That whole 20-minute long sequence between the glory hole and then her trying to explain it to the principal, it's got to be one of the funniest sequences.
One of the funniest sequences.
No, I'm sorry, it's 3 parts. It's the glory hole. It's when he takes her up into the on top of the gym and she starts howling, and then talk to the principal.
The principal was dying. Yo,
he was trying to hold it together. He was trying to hold it together. Let's just call them tallywhackers. He said, please, let's just call them tallywhackers.
Let's just call them tallywhackers. Yo, I can't even go there.
That whole 20-minute sequence is probably one of the funniest sequences you'll ever see in a movie.
That film would be canceled so fast.
So quick. So quick. Right.
Yeah. We're gonna end the show. I'm gonna end the show here, but it's that's funny. Yeah, because I remember that was your girl from
Sex, Kim Cattrall.
Sex City. That's Kim Cattrall.
And
from Mannequin.
She did Full Frontal. No,
she sure did. She did Full Frontal
and
in that.
If you remember when it came out, she jumped into that guy's arm. And she jumped off him. He took her clothes off. She didn't do it. He just yanked all the stuff out and bent her over.
Yeah.
That's what
he was like, you want to know? He's like, what is this howling? What are you talking about? You want to know? Just get her up to the top floor in the room, in the gym room. Oh, God. Let's stop before we get canceled, bro.
I know.
So anyway, all right, man. So
they're bringing up the past. How dare they?
How dare they bring up the past? They like those films
and racist and it promotes stuff against women and teenagers and high school cheerleaders and the basketball team and older women and incest and it did. But you know something? We were smart enough back then to understand the difference between films and real life
reality. That's what I said. That this is why I'm gonna close it on, Ralph. The problem is the reason why the cancel culture exists and the reason why people are so sensitive is because this last couple generations, these last couple decades, the reality television has blurred the line of fiction and reality, of what's real and what's not real. It's blurred the line. Because people think that reality television is real, right? They think, I stress the word think, that reality television is real. So now you got people that really can't, the lines are blurred. That's why you got people, sending death threats to, what's her name? Lisa Loren or whatever her name is, who played in Power. You got people... coming up to her. You got people coming up to, Michael Rainey Jr., saying, yo, I should whoop your ass. You disrespectful for your father. Nigga, I'm acting.
It's a TV show. Remember that scene in Low Down Dirty Shame where Jada Pinkett sees the guy that was on the soap opera and he punches him out. Says, that's what you get. Like,
That's
no,
what it is.
honey, it's a TV show.
It's a TV show. But really, honestly, reality television has helped blur the line between fiction and nonfiction.
Yep.
And it's gotten people to the point where they look at characters and they're like, oh, and then they get mad. You know, they'll look at, you know, same deal. They'll look at dude who plays, you know, Ghost, you know, and then be like, oh yeah, and you know what I'm saying? Get mad. Oh, you ain't no drug dealer.
Wesley Snipes wasn't a drug lord, and he's not a vampire. He's an actor, and he's not a baseball player. He's an actor.
He's none of
He
that.
is a martial arts, and he can't fuck you up. But all the other stuff that he does,
but he's not. So that's the thing. This generation is too blurred because of reality television and the internet, social media. Because they also think that social media, if it doesn't happen on social media, they think that it didn't happen. Right. Or if you know, if it didn't happen on social media, you know, it didn't happen. You got to stop. The line is too blurred. Get back to reality. Reality really is that most of the stuff you see on TV isn't real.
Scripted.
95% of the stuff you see on television that isn't, and even sometimes news now, isn't real. You have to, and if it's not television, now you're looking at this, you're looking at your devices. It's the same thing. 90% of the stuff on the internet you see, it's not real life. Some stuff is. And because of that, they get things messed up with films now. Their lines are too blurred. Get back to reality. Films are films. Narrative films tell a story. They tell a narrative. That is all. You don't have to go and get crazy about it. That's it. We're gonna end it on that. Next week, come back with us. We'll talk some more stuff. Hopefully, if anybody wants to get on here and talk about it next week, we're open. If you want to argue, I'm not here to argue with you, but
we can debate.
You want to debate. If you want to debate, a friendly debate, intelligent, adult, mature debate, and you want to come on here, the panel is open. You could tell me why you felt Coming to America was garbage. If you're going to say that it was garbage, you have to explain. I'm sorry. You got to come up here to the council and you got to explain to the council why you feel the film was garbage. Yeah, exactly. I just want to know. I'd really like to know. It's still your opinion.
Because it's got to be a whole lot deeper that, well, they're stereotypical of what African is. Really? How is that? How is that any different than The Lion King, Black Panther?
That's on my top 10, by the way, too. The Death of Mufasa.
Yeah,
is also that's in my top 10 of films of crying. The Death of Mufasa, and even when you think about it, there's something. My wife, if she's ever listening to this, she's gonna crack up. There's something about that song, "The Circle of Life," that just gave me. Me and my wife went to see The Lion King at Disney. It's like called
really?
It's not the Lion King Broadway show, but it's a show that's done at Animal Kingdom, and it's the Lion King, but it's called something else. But basically, it's a nice little live show that's done. And I told you, we were sitting there. We're like in the third row. We're watching this all, and they start singing "The Circle of Life." Right? They're singing that song, and as they're singing it, I'm literally tearing up, like I'm about to cry. My wife's looking at me like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
You don't understand. They did Mufasa dirty. They threw him into the pit to be killed by the wildebeest.
When they say, and just the way it sang, the way they sang the song, like I don't know. It's just so. It's something about it that touches me, and I'm just like,
I think it's the song. I think really it's just the song.
It's the song.
And I'm gonna say before we go, I think it's more that it's a song, but there's like a visual with it, right? It's like Purple Rain. When you hear the first time you heard the song Purple Rain, you're like wow. But when you saw the movie and he did it, you're like, damn.
That's also in my top 10. Purple Rain. When he did Purple Rain. That was sad. That people were crying this way. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's it. But we're definitely done here. Everybody, thanks. Shout out Maddie, Joseph, Tanner, of course. Jimmy Ace came through. Jason was in the building early on. We want to give a thanks to our guest, Katie Mack, actress and director Katie Mack. Good luck with go check her out. She didn't say what it was. I think she's just at Katie Mack or something like that on IG. And her film is called Boxer the Film. You can check her out on gofundher.com/Boxer Film. Check it out. If you want to donate to it, you get some perks. You get a lot of things. Support independent film and support this show. Share it with your friends. Like, comment, and share it. That's all we need you to do. We talked about it earlier. 2 seconds, not even 0.5 seconds to share this thing and put it out there. Anybody who might be watching later, we appreciate you. Thank you. And of course, shout out to Heaven Hollywood. And that's pretty much it, man. We'll for Ralph, I'm gonna sign off. We love you. And you can love us. You can hate us, but don't forget about us. We're going to get a karaoke version of that and play it as we go off. All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Have a good night. That's right. Don't be that person. Don't be that person.
Peace.